Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, welcome to a Thursday night motor racing on the GRC platforms. We are at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama, the good old US of A. My name is not Zach Caban, my name is Adam Tice. I'm filling in for Zach, who's away doing real-world commentary duties. I'm joined in the booth by producer extraordinaire Daniel Correa-Sar. We are live, as I said, with at Barber Motorsports Park with the Formula V's first up. We've got a decent-sized field out tonight, and so thank you for joining us. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for commenting on, and guys and girls, we see the track map on the screen. Track length 3.66 kilometers. Current temperature is 20 degrees. It's partly cloudy, a little bit of wind. But we should be in for a good night's racing in the V's. It tends to bring up some good racing. As I mentioned, I'm in the booth with Daniel Correa-Sar. Daniel, good evening. We're looking forward to a good night of racing, I'm sure.
Yeah, mate. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, it should be a really good one. Formula V's always produce a fantastic showing each and every time, and tonight should be no exception. We are at, as you said, Barber Motorsports Park. This is the foremost driving park in America. It is very, very well known from those who watch the IndyCar scene and some other formulas of motorsport in the US. Yes, it's a very, very famous park. It's had a couple of renovations over the years, and also most well known. Labus goes off the track there while they finish qualifying. But yes, this is really, really good in high downforce cars, and I can only imagine it's going to be a riot in these Formula V's.
Yeah, it is, and welcome everyone tonight as we bring up the results from qualifying. Chris Noble, championship leader. He's taken out pole position. Sam Chapman almost half a second behind. He is coming second in the championship. Adam Lavis, Nick Wood in P4. Aidan Schultz, our commentary mate Aidan Schultz in P5. Grant Gill, another commentary friend of ours. He's in P6. He would be pretty impressed with that. Tony Baker, Lane Thoburn, Sean McKenzie, and Kevin Henderson round out the top 10. And then we have Phil King, Pete Matson from Orbic Pace Setters, Sean Reese, and Ambo St. John. Ambo's just come back racing with us. He's had a bit of an extended break, so it's good to see Ambo lining up on the grid for the 14 cars as the guys are on the grid getting set to take off for race one of 3 races tonight. First race is 10 minutes as the lights come on, and once they go off red, they will be pedal to the floor. As we see now, everyone seems to have gotten away fairly cleanly, and Chris Noble looking to make it a clean getaway in turn one. We've got a little bit of a touchy-feely mid-pack there, as the guys, they're not going to get too far apart. Daniel, B's renowned for downforce passing, and here coming up to turn number 5 is one of the passing opportunities.
Yeah, so there are some decent straights or straight sections here at Barber, which most people will be able to use to just tuck in to the car in front of them and get some draft, just like Sam Chapman is doing and Chris Noble here at the front as they move down towards the chicane down the hill. So this really unsettles a lot of cars. The trick is to actually use the curb on the inside as you go down into the chicane, and what that'll actually allow you to do is it kicks the car and gets it ready, as we have one of the Formula V's just off the track at the back there. I believe that was Sean Reese, who is now rejoined in 14th. But yeah, a couple of passing opportunities, a decent amount, and then, like I said, these straight sections. So you'll see these guys tuck in and try and get as much of that draft as possible over the next 10 minutes. But what'll be curious to see if they can keep themselves out of chaos. We've had some really, really good races the past couple of weeks, and hopefully this one will be no exception.
Yeah, exactly right. And we're looking here at Noble, Chapman, Lavis, and Wood, a front-running pack. Grant Gill, Tony Baker, well, is a real pack of 5 or 6 there following up. So they'll be making sure they keep an eye on the front 4, not letting them get too far away as they complete the first lap. No major incidents to speak of, only Sean Reese on lap 1. but these guys settling, tyres would have warmed up by now as they're going over the hump. Not a huge amount of elevation change on the track, but as you said, Daniel, there is a decent amount of straights as Sam Chapman comes up on the inside. Adam Lavis looking to capitalise on Chris Noble, just entering the corner a little bit slower there, with Nick Wood right behind. So as we get on board with Adam Lavis, Chris Noble, Sam Chapman, sorry, moves. No, it is Chris Noble. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the liveries. The tricky turn 7, as you said, taking the curbs, settles the car where you want it to be positioned, and we're 3 minutes in, almost 3 minutes in, and the guys are well and truly settled by now. That's very, very, very close there, and as we can see, there's a big waiting pack behind, ready to pounce if anything happens up with these front, as Adam Lavis moves into second.
Yeah, so there's two distinct packs at the moment. You've got first down to, I'd say about fifth there. Grant Gill is slightly back from everyone, but he is catching. Sam Chapman had a bit of an issue. Just went a little sideways as they came onto that back straight, which allowed Adam Lavis and Nick Wood to shoot up on par. So Sam Chapman goes down 2 positions from where he started this race. Adam Lavis and Nick Wood up 1 each. Then yes, you've got Tony Baker there, just on the back of Grant Gill. You can see it back of shot there, and then there's a distinct gap to Lane Thoburn and the rest of the pack. So if there's a lot of fighting here from the back markers in the front pack, maybe Lane will be able to catch up. But otherwise, it will stay as 2 distinctive packs, and they'll race each other to the line. Lavis is wasting absolutely no time, looking to try and go around the outside as they go down towards the hairpin. But it probably won't work, as he'll slot back in line and just follow him through the next section.
Yeah, and just a quick apology to Chris. I thought Sam was in the Alpha Towery looking livery, but he's in the Silver Bullet. So Chris Noble is in the Alpha Towery as Adam Lavis takes the lead, coming up to the tricky turn 7. And we've got is that Nick Wood? Nick Wood's gone off at turn 7. What that has done as well is allow Grant Gill and Tony Baker, who took the fastest lap the previous lap, they've actually caught onto the back of these guys. So it was a pack of 4. It's turned into a pack of 5, minus Nick Wood, unfortunately. So he seems to have recovered okay, but unfortunately he's lost 4 spots. He's down in position 8. These guys will not make. They'll make hay while the sun shines, but they've actually extended their lead as a pack of 5, with a pack of 3 behind. Who do we have? Tony Baker looking to. He's probably just going to sit there for a little while as they come onto the long straight to complete their 3rd lap. They'll be certainly just over halfway of the race as well.
Yeah, so Lavis is doing a great job at the front here. Chris Noble is trying to attack. He's had a couple of opportunities so far, but he hasn't really made them stick. Sam Chapman also right there as we see Tony Baker sideways. Not sure if he had any contact with Grant Gill there, but Tony Baker has dropped all the way down to P12, 5 positions down. Grant Gill as well, so I believe that those two did come together. It looks like Aiden Schultz was also involved in some form of off-track. We can see Adam Lavis just holding inside. We'll go to the replay now and watch here. So here comes Tony Baker, and yes, they come together. So Grant Gill and Tony Baker come together, and unfortunately that's put Tony Baker off the track. Luckily no damage to the car, but a ton of positions lost.
It is a ton of positions lost, and that's unfortunate. For Tony, he did have, or does currently have, the fastest lap of the race at a 1:42.423. So what that's gone and done is it's made it. We did speak of a pack of 5 previously. It's now just a pack of 3. Chris Noble has made his way in front of Adam Lavis. Sam Chapman is following there. But as we jump on board with Adam Lavis, we can just see him just using every inch of the track actually. Making sure he's, as they brush onto the grass, making sure his turns are right, making sure his braking markers are right, and they're taking this right-hander. Well, there's no pit stops tonight. No allocated pit stops. It is one of the harder pit entries, the Barber Motorsports Park, because you have to get on the brakes so early to make a right-hand turn in pit lane. coming down the first left-hander, turn 1. Adam Lavis will have the benefit of the inside line, moving around, taking the lead off Chris Noble. So it's a bit of a chop and change at this point. Sam Chapman looks as though he's just happy to hang back a little bit, and Adam Lavis will probably try this outside manoeuvre again. I don't know that he's going to be able to do it. I don't think he has the pace. Maybe try the crisscross. Although Sam Chapman is looking like he's wanting to move ahead of Adam.
Yeah, essentially these front three, it's just a very aggressive, high-octane game of hot potato. And they keep switching back and forth each lap. Chris Noble currently in the lead of this race. Adam Lavis very close behind, and Sam Chapman close behind to him in P3. It looks like Lavis just had a bit of an issue coming out of the exit of that downhill chicane. So Sam Chapman will close the gap, but I'm not sure if he'll be within attack range because these cars don't have that get up and go that the more powerful formulas have. Instead, it's all about momentum and trying to keep it. So he'll want to try and use that draft as much as possible as they now go slightly uphill here. And Chris Noble's actually done a really good job now, put almost half a second. As we have a race control message, 15-second penalty for car 945 Kevin Henderson. Contact with Lane Thoburn on lap 3. That's a heavy penalty.
That is a heavy penalty. I think that might have been... I could be wrong. I think that might have been in turn 7 again. I'm not sure if we can get a hold of a replay on that one there, Daniel. But look, these guys, they've pulled out a nearly 3-second gap. So is this... Yeah, this is it. Lane Thorburn also in an Alpha Tauri livery.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not good at all. He's just kind of given Lane a bit of a hip and shoulder. Hence the 15-second penalty from Race Control. And we thank Race Control for obviously being a part of tonight. I'm not entirely sure who's in charge of Race Control tonight, but we do thank them for being the adjudicator tonight. Make sure these boys behave themselves. So as we having a look at Aiden Schultz, he is in car 352, right on the tail of Kevin Henderson, who we just saw before in contact with Lane Thorburn. Aiden will be looking to utilise the fact that he's on the inside, but he's just pulled out of the desperation sometimes of turn 7. So we can see there. There's very, very little time now. There's only we're almost at the 10-minute mark. So as we see these guys. We'll move to the front now. Sam Chapman has taken the lead. Chris Noble's not going to give it up. Actually, Adam Lavis isn't going to give it up either. They're coming into the right-hander, and then they're going to turn left onto the main straight. How is this going to look? Chris Noble looks like he's the one that's got the cherry on the top of this one, and he's going to take it out in a very close finish for the top 3. Then there's a second pack of another 3. Which is Nick Wood, Kevin Henderson, and Aiden Schultz. Then we're going to have Sean McKenzie. Sean Reese recovered pretty well. Phil King, Pete Matto-Matson, who we didn't get to see too much of in the brief 10 minutes. And then Tony Baker, Grant Gill, Ambo St. John, and Lane Thoburn decided to pit. So 10 minutes gone. We ended up with 7 laps, Daniel. Goes in the blink of an eye, really. But, yeah, that's typical V racing. Close. And the guys certainly wanting to put in a challenge to each other.
Indeed. It was a decent showing there from Chris Noble. He managed to hold them off. Sam Chapman had the lead of the race going into the final sector, but unfortunately could not hold on to it. So Chris Noble ends up taking that. So that is Heat 1 done. We now move on to Heat 2. And there is the grid on screen for you. So Pete Matto-Matson will start from P1 because, of course, this is a reverse grid top 10. Phil King starting along in P2. Sean Reese in P3. Sean McKenzie in P4. Adam Schultz and Kevin Henderson take out the third row. Nick Wood and Sam Chapman 7 and 8. Adam Lavis in P9 and Chris Noble in P10. And then we have Tony Baker and Grant Gill P11 and 12. Amber St. John and Lane Thoburn in 14. And that'll be the grid for this one. And away they go.
And once again, everyone's seems to have gotten away cleanly. We have Pete Matto Matson, who he's he's moved himself up to the front. And,
and he's sideways.
I've put the mock on him already.
Oh, and he collects.
Who's that?
That's Chris Noble. Chris Noble.
Oh no, Chris Noble's had a shocker. Unfortunately, not his fault, of course. I don't know if he got balked by another car and couldn't move out the way of Matto Matson there. We might see if we can get a replay of that one, but that would be devastating for Chris, the race 1 winner. As we're on looking at Phil King. Phil King in a little yellow pencil, as we like to call them. What that does now is move Sean Reese into P1. So that's Sean will be very, very happy with that. He's in a bit of a different livery than we're used to. Same team, I believe, but someone goes off. I think that's Aiden Schultz has gone off on the back. So that's in the notorious turn 7. So what do we see? Phil King in number 03. He'll be looking to overtake Sean Reese, of course. Kevin Henderson. Oh no! Oh, so they're all around.
And Adam Mavis.
Adam Mavis. Sorry, he was up in the air. That's I think that was a solo accident. I ended up collecting a few. That's we're gonna have to get another look at that when we can. What that has done. Sorry. Phil King and Kevin Henderson have made a group of 2. Then we have Nick Wood, Sean McKenzie, Sam Chapman, Tony Baker, Lane Thorburn, Aiden Schultz has recovered from his spin in turn 7. Adam St. John, he's up 4 spots in P9.
So let's try and go back. We'll have a look at that earlier incident. So this is the initial one. This is Matto Matson going through. He spins. And now just have a look there. And, so nobody hit Chris Noble. It was just he was on the outside and couldn't avoid. So an unfortunate one there for those 2. Then we had Aiden Schultz go off. And this is him coming down through. And has he done this by himself? He has. Hard on the brakes and spins the car. Very easy to do in the Formula Vs. And then later on we had Sean Reese leading the pack and then just went a little too hard. And Lavis, nowhere to go. Gets taken out there.
Well, and then Grant Gill gets as Sean Reese disappeared from the server. So I'm going to assume that's a little bit of a netcode there. And unfortunately, what that's done is Grant, Sean Reese, and Chris Noble have decided to pit for this race. We are on lap 2. We're coming up to lap 3. We have Kevin Henderson is now in front in the 945 car. We're on screen. We have Sam Chapman in the Silver Bullet. So Sam loves his Formula Vs. He is right on the back of Sean McKenzie, who we really haven't mentioned so far. And as we're coming up to the final turn, big left-hander onto the main straight. Really important to get that sequence right so you can have the momentum to go down the main straight. It gives you opportunity to utilise the downforce as well. So Sam Chapman does it cleanly. Sean McKenzie, he just ever so slightly gets off the throttle so the pass can happen clean. And Phil King, he was coming second. He's down to 5th place. So, but he's right on the back of this pack. Kevin Henderson has just eked out a little bit of a lead. What do we have? We're not halfway. Well, we're definitely not halfway through. It's a 15-minute race. So it will probably be that these 4 guys here we hope that they would work together to try and tack onto the back of Kevin Henderson to make it a 5-horse race. Be careful, gentlemen, coming down there. Very easy, Daniel, isn't it? To you just slightly nudge someone, it can really unsettle a V and turn all sorts of messy.
Yeah, there's no rear downforce on these cars. Well, I mean, there's very limited downforce anyway. They've got a nose cone shape. I suppose that's all to it, right? So with these cars here, like you said, Kevin Henderson has eked out a very decent lead to himself. 5 positions up from the start of this race. 1 second to the car behind that is Sam Chapman. And as you were alluding to, if these 4 cars work together, then they can use each other to try and catch back up to the front of the pack. But the problem is, try telling a racing driver to work with another racing driver. It's almost impossible, right? So these guys are going to fight. That's in their nature, and that's usually what we're here for, right? We watch these Formula Vs because they're well and exciting, and everyone's trying to get to the front as fast as possible. Nick Wood was ever so close in spinning Sam Chapman there. He actually got the nose cone right up against that right rear tyre. Luckily, there was no contact. We have seen that in the past. We saw that in the last race as well. Just a couple of people giving others in front of them a little nudge and shooting them right off course. So you do have to be careful with that, because there is race control. As Josh said, he decided to jump in halfway through. So there is someone watching, and you will be given a penalty if you don't pay attention, as Nick Wood just flashing in and out there. So that might be something to have to watch out for as we just move into the 6-minute mark here. And Kevin Henderson still doing a great job. But as we've been talking, Sam Chapman has managed to close the gap to 0.4 of a second. And so it looks like they did listen, and now they are a pack of 4.
Yeah, it looks like that. I wonder if they're listening to the broadcast as they're driving. But thanks for not making liars out of us, boys. There's a bit of a Lone Ranger towards there. That's Phil King. And he's soon to be attached to Tony Baker and Lane Thoburn. I hope I get that right, Lane, who currently has the fastest lap over 1:42.653. And he, along with Sam Chapman, are the ones that have gained the most positions. They're up 7 spots each. But as we have discussed, Kevin Henderson still just in front. But the pack of 4, they made up a almost 2-second gap between Kevin and themselves. And again, as we ride on board with Sean McKenzie at the moment, we'll just be able to see the effect of the downforce. There's really no room for him to go at the moment with Nick Wood beside him, and Nick Wood having the right of way into turn 1. But that lets Sean have right of way into big loop into turn 2, where we've seen a couple of incidents so far tonight. And Grant Gill, he's managed to come out of the pits and set the fastest lap now over 1:42.587, which is awesome for Grant. Unfortunately, he's in P13.
So Phil King managing to tack back onto this group. So we now have a battle for 5 for the front of this motor race. Tony Baker, who overtook Lane Thoburn earlier on, is still 2.2 seconds down the road. So there is a very distinct pack of 5 at the front, and then everyone else. Aiden Schultz, 20 seconds behind Lane Thoburn. So Tony Baker and Thoburn having a race of 2 for P6 at the moment. Lap 5 here in this motor race. We've got a 15-minute race for the second heat. And Sam Chapman is doing a really good job at the front here. Kevin Henderson is giving him absolutely no room to breathe, though. He is right there behind the car, as Nick Wood is also doing the same to Sean McKenzie as they run down towards the back sector of the track. Just having a look here. So Kevin Henderson is doing a really good job of holding that line. Sean McKenzie shoot up on the inside. Have a look at Phil King now. He manages to close up, braking just a little later than everyone else and really dropping the time. But Nick Wood is a man possessed, trying to go on the inside of Kevin Henderson here. Didn't quite work for him, but as they go down the main straight, he might just be able to get it done before turn 1.
And Sam Chapman just he's weaving across the track in P1 as he's allowed to do. He's just trying to break the toe. I was just watching the footage as you were talking there, Daniel, and I was getting a little nervous because these guys are getting very, very close nose to tail, and it doesn't take very much at all for them to make contact and potentially cause a bit of chaos. And also, we've seen plenty of times in the GSRC races where netcode has been a factor. But I mentioned Josh Zuno before in race control. We thank Josh for stepping in and playing referee tonight. But we did see on the previous lap that Phil King was a second or 2 behind this pack of 4, and he's managed to really tack on to the back of these guys, which and Tony Baker and Lane Thoburn are not far behind at all. They're 2 seconds. Did I just miss a little bit of a save there? As we're on board with Sean McKenzie, who's looks like he's just content at the moment to sit behind Sam and Kevin. What are we? We're just about to click over 10 minutes so 5 minutes left. And what are we doing? We're doing a 1:43 on average lap. So approximately 4 laps to go. I'm no maths expert by any stretch of the imagination, so I could have that totally wrong as the guys come through turn 4 to in, and now we're approaching the left-hander at turn 15 onto the main straight, as we have seen tonight already. And we're just on board with Phil. He moves out of the stream. Thanks, Greg Paget, for joining us and encouraging Phil King. As there's a warning, Nick Wood, for a bad rejoin with Phil King on the previous lap. Lap 5. So Nick will be, he would have seen that pop up on his screen, so he'll be aware that he's got to play a little bit nice. And then, Greg, thanks for joining us. I know you've been through a little bit medically at the moment. It's great to have you back. Maybe not in the sim, but at least watching the broadcast. And so we do wish you a speedy recovery, my friend, from all of us at GSRC. So what do we have here? We've clicked over 11 minutes, and it's just eked out to a pack of 3 now. So Nick Wood and Phil King have dropped off. Sam Chapman still in the lead. Sean McKenzie, as I said just before, it looks like he's just sitting there, waiting for these guys to maybe he's thinking they might touch, they might fight it out where he can catch up. So, but he's definitely not far behind at all.
Yeah, Sam Chapman doing a really good job here at the front of the pack. Yep, Kevin Henderson close behind. Sean McKenzie here in P3. And unfortunately, Nick Wood fell into the typical mode that some drivers do when they're falling behind, and he's overdriving the car, and it's causing issues. You can see him going really wide on some of these exits, putting 2 tyres into the grass. He had a couple of slides which he caught, and that's what's caused a 2-second drop-off to P3. So that's really rough for him, and it's just a very insane workload to try and catch back up, with which Phil King is not making easy at all as they continue to battle. So unfortunately, it looks like this front pack of 3 is away with it, and it'll be like this to the end of the race. We've only got about 2.5 minutes to go or so. Sam Chapman still leading, 7 positions up. It's a fantastic job from him so far, but it's never safe till you cross the checkered flag. So Kevin Henderson still pushing well, as it's interesting because right now he's playing the mirror game, which is he just makes himself look as huge as possible in the rear mirrors of Sam Chapman, hoping that Sam Chapman will look in the mirrors and make a mistake. He hasn't done any sort of dive on the inside. He's actually played this really, really sensibly, which is commendable. As I say that, as he goes into the outside here, I wonder if he'll be able to hold the line. Sean McKenzie's actually done a really good job here, and he goes temporarily into the lead.
Look at that. He got a great run, didn't he? He just used the momentum from that, and I think he's certainly caught Kevin.
Oh, they're together!
They're together. Oh, no. What that's done. Sean McKenzie has come cream of the crop with that one. Wow. That's shot those guys. Oh no, Sam Chapman's actually been able to recover as we jump on board with Sean. You see what happened here. He goes up the middles. That's okay there. Did he just put them off? Oh, they were coming into the little chicane here. It's a hard one to call. I'm going to leave that one to race control. It looks like Sam, as he was going over the curve, the car just kind of bounced to the left on him there. But I'm going to have to leave that one to race control. That's not something that I want to call, simply because that's going to take a few replays, I think. And it might just be classed as a racing incident as well, as we're on board with Adam St. John in a rather colourful looking vehicle. And he'd be pretty happy with P11, Adam. He's, as I said earlier in the broadcast, he's just come back online with the club. He's had a bit of an extended break and looking back to get into the swing of things. And so I'm sure he's going to be pretty impressed as he's onto the back of Matto Matson and Adam Lavis, who, certainly Adam wouldn't be expected to be finding himself down that low.
Yeah, unfortunately, that earlier incident didn't do any favours for Adam Lavis. So, yes, he's dropped down to P9 at the moment with a close battle with Pete Matson and Adam, all within 2/10 of each other. And while they're fighting here, Sean McKenzie is absolutely going to walk away with this win. I do believe we are on the final lap based on time certain, and I think Sean McKenzie is coming around that final turn. We'll cut over. There it is. There's the checkered flag, and Sean McKenzie will come across and take the win here. Nick Wood and Phil King, P2 and 3, and Sam Chapman manages to recover there for P4. Lane Thoburn in P5. Kevin Henderson comes across in P6. Tony Baker in P7. And then back to Aiden Schultz there in P8, who will cross. But that was, again, an unfortunate one there for Sam Chapman and Lane Thoburn. I think you were right, though, saying it was a racing incident, because what happened was Sean just got an absolute mega run on both of them, splits them like Moses, and then as they come through the next corner, I think the others were so focused on making the corner they didn't see each other, and there was a slight drift from Sam Chapman's car, I believe, on the inside, and it just went out, touched, and both of them turned around. So a rough one for them, but luckily they can redeem themselves because we do have a third race coming up.
Yeah, we do, and it is another 15-minute race. And congrats to Sean McKenzie, who ends up pulling out.
Oh, it's a 10-second penalty.
Oh, okay. So
right.
Not a racing. Okay. Yeah, well, that's done at the end of the night, isn't it, Daniel? That's just tacked onto the.
That'll be yes.
Results.
Yeah, that'll be once the results are calculated is when the penalties will come in, because unfortunately iRacing do not allow us as an organisation to affect any of the results in race, which is slightly annoying. It'd be nice if we could do that and adjust them on the fly, but we have to do it post-race.
And with the way the V's are and the closeness of the racing, 10 seconds can potentially be quite a few positions, can't it? Depending on where you end up.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it's a big deal.
So as we see the results from race 2, Sean McKenzie ends up winning Max Stretch Motorsport. Nick Wood takes out second place on the podium. Phil King will be very, very impressed with P3 for the 03 car. Sam Chapman, Lane Thoburn, Kevin Henderson, Tony Baker, Aiden Schultz, Adam Lavis and Pete Matson are our top 10. Adam St. John, who we got a glimpse of near the end there, I think he'll be okay. He'll be pretty happy with position 11. Chris Noble, Grant Gill, Sean Reese, and we haven't seen David Besson. I don't think he's in the server at all. But these certainly dish up action aplenty every week, don't they, Daniel? I'm not normally available on a Thursday night, so I haven't seen the racing this season. But it's very rare that we have a incident-free V race.
Yeah, sometimes they can be really good. Zandvoort was an example of that. We had pretty clean racing all the way through. There were a couple, I believe, but for the most part, all three it came down to photo finishes, which was nice. I actually know this. I think the second race in Zandvoort wasn't a photo finish. There was a photo finish for a later position. But the nature of the Vs lends itself to this type of racing. The thing is, that's the danger with open wheelers, right? Is they go faster because obviously the bodies are more tuned for high downforce, this and that. But your wheels are exposed, and when your wheels are exposed, it's not just the wheels; it's all the bits and pieces that are attached to the wheels, like your suspension and your turning arms and all that stuff. So those are fragile. And when you're racing side by side, if you're in a touring car, you've got a lot more leeway to bump and run. And you're in a Formula car like this, not so much. You also get what's called catapulting, which is one of my favorite things ever. It's because of the opposing forces of the tires. When they hit each other, they launch. And that's what you see sometimes when they come together and the tires touch each other. The car at the back gets launched straight up into the air, which is terrifying for the person on board, but it's absolutely hilarious for the people watching. So it's always been good. It's always been chaotic. An unfortunate one there for P2 and 3. You would have hoped that we'd see a better race to the line. But unfortunately, Sam Chapman drifting off through the corner, taking out Kevin Henderson and getting a 10-second penalty for his trouble.
Yeah, and as the guys back on the grid, lights come on again once they go off. It is on the accelerator, as we see. Someone at the back there has got a pretty good start, but they all get away cleanly. Sean McKenzie, P1. Do the guys get around turn one cleanly? Yes, they do. There is a little bit of a touch at the back there. I think that might have been Chris Noble, the winner of race number 1. He, but it ended up being okay. No one got any major incident out of that. As we on board with Adam Lavis. Adam Lavis got a good say. He's already up 3 spots from where he started, so he's got his eye in as Nick Wood gets a little bit taily coming into turn 5, and one of the long straights. They've already broken off 2 different packs, but there's plenty of V's on the track, so we've got to.
Oh, Nick Wood's round. Oh, this time.
Is he avoided?
Grant Gill.
Oh, Grant Gill. He is a magnet tonight.
Oh, they're stuck together.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, they're out.
Okay. Does Grant get moving as well? We'll see. Wow. I thought they were all going to get around, actually. But unfortunately, our good mate Grant got tied up in that, which drops him all the way back to the end of the field as we're on board with Kevin Henderson, who will be looking to make amends for what happened in the previous race in that incident with Sam Chapman, who is right in front of him. So coming into turn 15, is that? Oh, yes, it is, onto the long straight, as the guys obviously move up a gear and utilise the draft. Kevin Henderson is the major beneficiary being in P3, but he just stays back as we move back to the second pack with Chris Noble, Pete Matson, Lane Thoborn, Sean Reese, and I think that's Phil King at the end of those. And further back with Aidan Schultz, who'll be pretty disappointed he's that far back. Tony Baker, Adam St. John, and as we mentioned, Grant Gill rounding out the field. Although Nick Wood has gone into the pits, unfortunately, so from that earlier incident.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, Matto Matson, I think.
Yep,
Was it?
That was. It was Peter Matson just drifting off to the side of the track. And a good job there from Sean Reese to avoid that car. Phil King also really close behind him now. So a 2.5 second gap between P4 and P5. That's Adam Lavis and Chris Noble, respectively. And Sam Chapman has also managed to take the lead of this motor race, with Sean McKenzie close in tow. And Adam Lavis has managed to really close up the gap to that front 4, or the front 3, I should say. And so now it's starting to heat up for the front of this race. 15 minutes into this race. We're 3 minutes down. And as of now, it's anyone's race.
It is anyone's race. Sam Chapman out the front. We have Kevin Henderson on screen at the moment. Just content probably to sit in P3, although he's probably got his eyes in the rearview mirror, knowing that Adam Lavis is right on his tail. And I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. I could be totally wrong. I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say Adam's probably just going to hang there for a little bit and make his move later in the race. Adam's a very patient racer and very strategic, not calculated, but more a strategic racer. So he'll just probably just see what these guys, what games these guys are playing, and will want to capitalise on any gaps that he sees with Chapman, McKenzie, or Henderson making. Does he look up the inside? No, he doesn't. He just doesn't have enough momentum. Kevin Henderson goes up the inside. I'm not sure how close that was. That did look pretty close, but in the end, it was all okay. What that has done is moved Adam Lavis up into P3. So he'll just sit on the tail of Sean McKenzie. Kevin will have to reset as coming into the notorious turn 7. Careful coming through here, gentlemen. And yes, Kevin's just going to have to reset. He'll probably just take a deep breath or two and refocus. But certainly these 4 guys not allowing Sam... Well, the 3 guys aren't allowing Sam Chapman to get away. And who is that? Chris Noble. He'll be hoping he can tack it onto the end of this pack of 4.
Yeah, 1.96 seconds the gap between P4 and P5. Chris will have a lot of work to do. The only thing is that Kevin Henderson isn't really known for just letting people go by, so I would imagine that he'll be fighting really hard here with Adam Lavis and Sean McKenzie in P2. Sam Chapman was able to get about a 7/10th gap to those behind. That's now closed down to half a second as Sean McKenzie does not adjust his line. Sam Chapman does. So Sam Chapman, I see, he goes into the grass. Luckily for him, he's able to drive on that now, so it doesn't affect him too bad. Lavis right there on the gearbox. You can see it almost tucked in underneath as Sam Chapman still leading this motor race. Kevin Henderson doing a great job to hold on as well. Adam Lavis looks to the inside of Sean McKenzie. For now, he's in front, but they're going down towards the hairpin at the bottom. I'm not sure if... Oh, wow, Sean has dropped way back, so Lavis will keep the position. And I think Sean will hold on to P3 for now. It does seem so, but Kevin Henderson is right there on his tail.
I'm not sure what's happened to Aiden Schultz or Phil King, Daniel. I don't know if anything's come up on your screen, but those guys look like they've had some dramas there.
They have. There are crash events for them.
Okay.
Let's have a look here. So Phil King. I wonder if it's both of these guys coming together. That seems like it's Sean Ray. Oh, yes. It's both of them,
okay.
Yes.
So Phil's spun from turn one, and Aiden had nowhere to go. So those guys had to hit the tow button. And Aiden has managed to make it back out on the track, although he is right down the bottom bar. Nick Wood a lap down. As we're on board with Adam Lavis in P2. They made spaghetti together. Thanks, Josh. Coming onto the long straight to cross over the line to start lap number 5. We're just about to tick over minute number 7, so we're almost halfway through our final race of the night. The guys are just playing a little bit with the grass. Looking at, well, they're not wanting to go off, of course, but V's and grass generally tend to not agree with each other. As we see Adam Lavis, is he going to make a move down the inside into this hairpin on Sam Chapman? Yes, he is, and he does end up taking the lead. Sam Chapman, he's looking to cover himself from an attack of Sean McKenzie. So, as I predicted, Adam Lavis has actually been able to make those positions he's moved from P4 to lead the race, playing the patient game, playing the strategic game, and although he's not getting away easily, Sam Chapman, he's got to be a little bit careful here because I think this might be the next lot of corners where he got his penalty from the last races. Sean McKenzie dips his nose out. But, Sean McKenzie gets a little bit taily. They're coming around turn 13, turn 14, where the pit lane entry is. Although these guys aren't using the pits tonight, not in the Vs. And the left-hander onto the straight, as I've mentioned previously. I do see there, is that Chris Noble not too far behind this pack of 4 now, as we see. He's caught up, so he's got the time creeping down. It was 2 seconds just previously. It's down under 1.5 seconds now. So Chris Noble, the winner of our first race, he'll be hoping he can latch on to the end of this as Sam Chapman makes a move down. So he's going to do a copycat maneuver from the previous lap. Adam Lavis did. And does he make it cleanly? Yes, he does.
So Kevin Henderson following right up the back of Adam Lavis there. As you mentioned, Chris Noble has really brought down the gap. So these 4 fighting have really allowed Chris Noble to do smooth lines and join the pack. And he is now within 0.2 of a second. That is a mega job from the P5 driver. And he is now well and truly in this fight. Lavis leading the race at the moment. Sam Chapman was for a moment. He went onto the inside of the hairpin, got the move done, but unfortunately was taken away again. from Adam Lavis. Kevin Henderson just holding station at the moment, as well as Sean McKenzie and Chris Noble. So 5-way fight here at the front as we hit 10 minutes. 5 minutes left in this motor race, which will be a handful of laps as they are lapping in the 1:43-minute mark. And right now, Lavis is doing an immense job at the front, but as we dwindle down the time, you can expect the cars behind him to get more and more aggressive. Hopefully they stay out of each other's way. We don't see any impacts, but knowing how race drivers are, I can only imagine it'll be bullseye to the line as Chris Noble goes down the inside and takes P4 away from Sean McKenzie.
And that's a really great effort from Chris, isn't it? Because he was, previous lap, he was almost 2 seconds behind these guys, and as they were fighting up, coming down the hairpin, which we're just about to come down now, the pack of four they lost all their momentum because they were fighting each other, and so Chris was able to gain plenty of time coming into this left-hander, and it really is a pack of five at the moment. So the next driver, Tony Baker, he's 8 seconds behind. So what do we have? We've just ticked over 11 minutes. We're probably looking at 3 or so laps to go. Adam Lavis currently has the fastest time of a 1:42.318, which I think is the fastest time tonight so far. But he's certainly not being allowed to dictate the race, because Sam Chapman, as you were saying, Daniel, these guys are race drivers, and patience is not necessarily a virtue when it comes to sim racing, particularly in a Formula V on a tight area of a track like Barber Motorsport Park.
Oh man, 2x2 as they go into that section of the track. Sam Chapman absolutely managing to get away with it now. So Lavis just getting unstuck in that section of corners. Chris Noble up into P3. Kevin Henderson dropping back one now. So Chris Noble is currently 9 positions gained from the start of this motor race, and he is absolutely pushing. He won that first race. I think he wants the honours of this one as well, and he is not allowing the two ahead of him to get away too much, as he will be right on the back of that gearbox there for Adam Lavis. Now, Adam Lavis, it's interesting because he was holding steady for the past couple of laps, but something's happened here, and I think it's just momentum-based. I think it's just he had a really bad exit, and unfortunately it's sort of rattled his cage a little as Chris Noble dives onto the inside here through the hairpin turn, and he's done a really good job. I think he might just pip Adam Lavis here when we get to the bottom. The only thing is, it is a right-hander, so it doesn't work in Chris Noble's favour, except for the fact, like I said, it's a downhill chicane, so you actually want that outside curb. But he'll fall in line. He gets there. Might have been a little bit tap, not too sure, but it doesn't seem like there's any damage, and they're still pointing straight, so no harm, no foul. And the more that these two do this, the bigger the gap it's going to be to the front. So Sam Chapman's hoping that these two fight all the way to the end, because then he won't have to worry about the middle.
And also, we've also got a note too. Sam Chapman does have a 10-second penalty, I think it was, from the incident in the previous race. So Sam will be wanting these guys to continue to battle so that he can eke out as big a lead as he can, because that is actually going to affect the results after this race. If it's a 10-second penalty that I'm thinking it was, it's going to probably drop him down to P6, P7, somewhere around there, as Barney brings out the white flag. So we're on our last lap. And again, we see Sam weaving across the track. He is allowed to do that. He's trying to break the toe of Chris Noble. 10-point penalty.
10
car 34
point?
10 point. So
What
with car
is
33.
that?
Does that register on your area there? Lap 6, 10-point penalty. That's one of the bigger ones I've seen. Is on board with Lane?
Oh, boy.
Okay. Okay, well, Josh has had plenty of time to review that.
Okay.
That is that's a pretty big points penalty. But anyway, back to the front. And we are on our final lap. Sam Chapman is in the lead. Remembering he does have his penalty that he's He's got a well, he does serve
Well, that'll be
serves it at the end
served.
of the night.
That'll be served for the second race, not this one. So
Right. Okay.
If it was dealt to him on the second race, it'll be for the second race. So right now, this is for all honours. Neither of these guys have penalties, so they're racing full position to the end.
Sure. I'm sorry about that. And so positions to the end, and Chris Noble is winner of race 1. He will be definitely wanting to make sure that Sam knows he's there. And as they're coming up to the final left-hander, Chris will have the momentum because he's got the draft, and he'll be punching. Sam will be punching the hole in the air for Chris has crossed the line, and I think Sam's got it. I think he's got it, which is the closest finish of the night. Chris Noble second, Adam Lavis an excellent third, Sean McKenzie, Kevin Henderson, Tony Baker, and we've got Sean Reese, Pete Matto Matson on screen. Then Grant Gill, Adam St. John, Aidan Schultz and Phil King, Lane Thoburn and Nick Wood in pit lane. The closest finish of the night was done in the last race there, Daniel, and it was relatively clean, certainly from the front 5, and it brought out good racing in the end.
It did. No, it was a good race all throughout. There wasn't any major chaos from the front pack. There were a couple of crashes towards the back. It seems as though Grant Gill also had one there on lap 8. We'll see if we can go back and just have a look at that. So he's coming up to the back section of the track, and yeah, just loses traction on the side and rolls off the track. So nice and clean, no damage there. But it does mean that Matto got an extra position, so he'll be happy about that. But otherwise, a clean race, as we're just waiting on Phil King to make his way around the final part of the track, and that'll be the third race of the Formula V's done and dusted. And then we'll be able to go to some post-race interviews if anyone decides to come up and have a chat. So here we go, Phil King across the line. And there we are. 9 positions down. A rough race for Phil King on that one, unfortunately. But with him crossing the line, that means we do have the results ready to go.
Awesome. We see Sam Chapman ends up taking out race 3. 0.062 gap to Chris Noble, who was our winner of race 1. Adam Lavis rounds out the podium. He'd be pretty happy with that. Sean McKenzie, Kevin Henderson, Tony A. Baker, Sean Reese, Pete Matto Matson, Grant Gill, and Adam St. John round out our top 10 with Aidan Schultz, Phil King, who we saw just cross the line, and Lane Thoburn and Nick Wood round out our races for tonight. As we have our, I'm going to bring him in, Grant Gill, our good mate Grant Gill. Grant, do we need the swear beeper on for you at this point? Because it wasn't one of the better nights at all, was it, for you?
7-second delay might be in order, but you got me there?
Yep, we got you.
Yep, good. Yeah, it wasn't a great night for me tonight, but anything that could go wrong did go wrong, and it is what it is, as they say. I'm sure there's a couple of other corny cliches I could toss in there as well, but firstly, apologies to Tony in that first race. We were travelling along nicely, and he just seemed to lose a bit of speed around that first hairpin, and I just clipped in, which ruined it for both of us. So once again, sorry to him. And sorry to the viewers, because the only way I would have appeared in the broadcast was on the bloopers reel.
We did have you a little bit on the bloopers reel, Grant, to be honest. But I was just gonna. Thanks for clearing up what happened there with Tony. With the V's, it is because they don't have any tail lights. It is hard to judge braking and momentum, isn't it? You do get caught out quite easily.
Oh, absolutely. As early stages, we're very close together. There's nothing for me to gain to be any closer, but he just seemed to come back at me at faster than I could respond, and there was a little touch there, and of course that spun him, as it does in these cars. So. Yeah, it's not the way I like to go racing, but on to bigger and better things. How about Sprayton coming on board as a sponsor? Fantastic.
It is actually. We haven't done our regular sponsor promos at this point, but you're right, Grant. We do have a new sponsor that we can mention tonight, Sprayton Cider, who are from Tasmania.
Non-alcoholic cider is a point to make. They do have grown-up beverages, but on iRacing broadcasts, you're not allowed to promote, despite the 4X livery just going past there. We're not supposed to promote alcohol or tobacco or anything like that. So non-alcoholic cider for the broadcast. Other grown-up beverages as well, and as I used to say on Hey Hey, it's Saturday, case of the sponsor's product to the broadcast booth, please.
Thank you for mentioning the non-alcoholic. I did have a bit of a gander at their website before we jumped on the broadcast, and I had in my head, I've got to make sure I remember to say non-alcoholic. So thanks for backing me. Thanks for backing me up there, Grant. Your thoughts on the Barber Motorsports combo? A fan or something you'd rather forget?
No, big fan. Skippies around here is also fantastic, and apparently Barber Motorsports Park, I think I've been told correctly, is not related to the Skip Barber, but anyway, I could be completely wrong, as I so often am.
No, that's correct. That's correct. They are two different people.
Yeah, great combination. Good couple of error generators. That first hairpin, or more than a hairpin, really, isn't it? After the start line, and the hairpin at the end of the next straight, and then of course the big sweeper up over leading into the final, right where the cars are now. Tricky as all get up. No, it's a little bit further on, but yeah, tricky combo. But I'm sure it brought some great racing up front. I heard the lead changing quite a bit.
Yeah, it was changing quite a bit, and there was a bit of action in the kind of the turn 7 right, left, right chicane area. Was that something that you were sort of already aware going into the race, where you had to be careful? Were you kind of making sure that you were aware of potential hazards there?
Absolutely, the corkscrew, as they call it, I believe, and to be quick, you had to get in tight on the start of it, leap over the middle of it, and then somewhere in the middle of that, change down to a third gear and get nice and tight and tucked in and around without the back letting go on you, which I think I showed you how you let the back go there through a couple of times.
Good. Now, Grant, you're going to hang around into the booth for the Porsche race?
Absolutely. Awesome. In Zach's absence, maybe the two of us might equal about Zach's little finger.
Yeah, I'd say so. There's been no Zaculation so far, no mention of daylight saving or any sports updates. So we certainly aren't of his caliber here in the booth, but that would be great to have you along in the Porsches. As we move across to race 3 winner Sam Chapman. Congratulations, Sam. You ended the night very well. 0.062 win over Chris Noble in second place. You must be pretty happy with the final result in race 3.
Yeah, I was. Race 2 sort of ended up being a bit tough, so I sort of came into race 3 going, better make this count, and was able to get there in the end. Only just. I was watching Chris sort of come through the field, and but he just had a little bit too much to do, I guess.
And talk us through race 2 there, Sam, because you were having a great battle with Kevin Henderson there. Sean McKenzie was just kind of biding his time there for a couple of laps, and then all of a sudden you and Kevin kind of parted the seas, and Sean was able to go up the middle. Was it a case of you were a bit surprised that Sean was up the middle? I mean, it was all clean, but you ended up going through the tight chicane there, and unfortunately made contact with Kevin.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate one because so Sean popped through the middle because I was effectively planning to sort of pull back from Kev. So then Sean popped through the middle and went, okay, all right, let them both through. We've got time. We'll play with this later. So then I've gone into that next corner, and Kev's sort of taken a very tight line and lost a lot of speed through there. So I'm suddenly alongside, and he's used all the track. So I think. I'll be able to just have a chat to I guess Josh is reaching around. I can see because I caused the contact. I wasn't alongside in the corner. That I guess that would be the theory around it. But But yeah, it's just difficult to avoid, unfortunately. So yeah, from there, bit of catch up, and obviously the penalty sort of drops it down a bit. So but yeah, otherwise it was a good night. It's a good track for these cars. It's a good mix of technical and slipstreaming. But yeah, pretty good racing all in all.
And so with that, so heading into the night, you were only, let me have a look here, 9 points behind Chris in the championship. So obviously Adam Laves has got to do his mathematical calculations and get things sorted, but you guys are kind of still glued at the top heading into the next round, so which I think is Willow Springs.
Willow.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are. Chris is super quick. So it's he's a tough guy to beat. But yeah, no, we're glued together. It's been some good racing this season. So yeah, hopefully we can keep pushing with it. It's been a lot of fun racing with him, racing with Adam as well today, and Hendo as well. So yeah, it's a good group of guys up there.
Awesome. Sam, you jumping in the Porsche, or is that you're pulling up stumps for the night? So?
Jumping in RC. So we'll see. I think I'm solo tonight. Jamie's not backing me up, so I'm actually going to have to make sure I've got my got everything in order.
Okay, no worries. Well, congrats on the win tonight, and congrats. Certainly we want to wish you well for the rest of the season. And how do you think the V's at Willow Creek are going to go?
I reckon they'll be hilarious, to be honest. It's just like, especially that sort of early section, that part of the track's so wide that you could just about go 6 stone wide in these if you wanted to.
Do you think they'll make it up the hill, Sam? Up around the top there?
We'll find out. I mean, it will be a bit tricky because what I wasn't really thinking about so much when I was doing it was that Willow Springs is a little bit bumpy. So there will be an aspect that it will be a little tricky in that respect, but those sort of bank corners and those longer corners, I think will make for some pretty good side-by-side racing, and it will be a case of keeping it together through that sort of middle section which gets really technical, and we've got all those crests where you can sort of lose the back.
I was in the Toyota in the up and comers on Tuesday night where we were at Willow Springs, and the Toyota was struggling to get up the hill. So I'm just wondering, you may have to get out and push a V up there.
I reckon.
Yeah,
we'll see how we go. We might be
maybe
changing
second
down
gear
to
we'll get a
yeah.
Maybe second gear we'll get a use. I guess we'll find out. I would imagine it'll be a case of trying to hold speed in third going into that and taking a wide line, but you never know. Every now and then it pops up on a track that second is maybe an option, but highly risky.
Yeah, and then I'm seeing the week after that, round 7 is Laguna Seca. You love these tracks that let the backs go on these things, don't you?
I guess so. I'm just a big fan of Laguna Seca, but also because I wanted to do a couple of tracks this season that mirrored the officials. So Laguna is the officials for the week before that, just so if people want to have a bit of practice and play around and use some telemetry to try and sort of tighten up their game, they've got access to that. Of the official tracks, that's probably, I guess, one of my favourite for these, because it is, I guess, a bit tricky, but it's a difficult track to overtake in a GT3, but is it in a V? Probably not. But on the other hand, you have to be careful of those inside curves because they will be brutal.
Yeah, and turn 1 will be a tricky one, braking and turning and back on the gas again. And then is round 9 the Gilles Villeneuve? No, I can see round 8 is Gilles Villeneuve.
Round 8. So and then round 9.
TBA.
Yeah, so round 9's still to be decided. I haven't quite worked out how we decide that one yet. We were looking at doing the full Nürburgring, but Adam Lavis has talked me out of it. I think it's going to be a lot of camera work to get that up and running, and it's going to be, if you die, it's going to be a long tow job. So
we'll need to get Link. What's our Enduro sponsor? We'll need to get a Sunday tucked away for that one. And
we need to get Logan Systems Enduro, I think. Yeah,
1 lap.
Exactly. Well, 1 lap would be about 10 minutes, so it would be about the first race.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a 2 laps second and third race, which would start eating into the Porsches at that point. So,
It would indeed. Good fun. And then Phillip Island's grand final, so that rounds it all out.
yeah, exactly. And Phillip Island's a brilliant track for these. Every time you race around there, and it's just got that sort of long, wide corners, quite relatively smooth compared to an American track, and but like with enough of a bit of a technical and stopping areas to switch it up a bit. So yeah, I thought PI would be the best place to finalise the season.
Always nice to come home to a home race for the grand final.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to start on a home race and finish on a home race. So starting in Oran Park and finishing at PI.
Excellent. Well done.
Awesome, Chapo. Thanks for joining us, mate. We good luck in RC. Hopefully we won't be too busy. Time will tell, I guess. But congrats for your race 3 win tonight, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
No worries. Gentlemen, no one else in the booth. Daniel, might be time. Sponsors, the guys who support us to put broadcast on. John Simpson of Flash Graphics, who does a stellar job with club liveries. We also have M-Wave, who's a fairly new sponsor. My understanding is they deal in computer technology. So M-Wave is very much welcome aboard. Thank you, M-Wave. Login Systems, who is our endurance partner for the GT3 series that we have once a month. Thank you to Login Systems. Orbic, Pete Manomatson and Orbic have also joined us this season as well. Waste Options, who we're familiar with, we thank them for remaining on board. Lobesy Racing's Trent Lavis, he is the sponsor of the Up and Comers series on a Tuesday night. We thank Trent for putting his Lobesy Racing forward to sponsor that series. Player One Sim Gear, we thank them for they're a returning sponsor, so we thank them as well.
Yeah, Formula V's former sponsor and back for the Super 2 and 3s, and the new sponsor. Sprayton from Pure Tasmanian, Sprayton Cider. Non-alcoholic, of course.
Excellent, thank you. We do thank our sponsors. We thank you for tuning in tonight. Again, Zach Caban hasn't had a voice change. He's actually on real world commentary duty for the next 2 weeks over in Western Australia, I believe. I think it's the Hyundai XL series he's a part of and has been very much looking forward to it. So you're stuck with myself. My name is Adam Tice. We are going to take a small break, but stay with us because we do have the Porsche Cup coming up from MotorLand Aragón in Spain. So we're going to take a bit of a breather, and we will be back shortly.
Welcome back. Here we go, travelling westward up to France, and we're heading for this wonderful part of the world, MotorLand, Aragon, Alcaniz, Teruel region of Spain, in fact. So the Spanish really windy little track. I believe we'll be running the MotoGP section format of the track, which is best known for old Aragon. But looks a fairly dry area. I wonder if there are olive trees or grapevines growing there in Spain. That might be olives, but that's as we come through to the full-size iRacing feed. And we're running the Grand Prix configuration, track length of 5.29 kilometres. The city of Alcaniz, only 340 metres above sea level, and we can see there it's 20 degrees ambient, 21 degrees track temperature. My goodness me, that's a very high barometric pressure reading. It's about 3 billion, so I'm guessing it's clear and dry whilst we're there. Whether the wind is 14 kilometres an hour, and I've never been able to work out whether the wind actually has an effect on the racing. I'm so sporadic in my driving, I can never really tell. But we are back for the Sprayton Porsche Cup, brand new sponsor, sponsoring all of Thursday night. And we thank them for their contribution. We're just wrapping up qualifying, 19 minutes 59. There goes the checkered flag. And are we running a sprint tonight, Daniel, or is it a 40-minute?
I believe it is a regular race. Give me a moment, I will double check.
I shall check also. Round 5.
It
is a 40
40
minute
minutes.
race.
Yep.
Yeah, yes indeed. So really looking forward to this smallish field. We've got about 15, 16 cars in, and we have just finished qualifying, so we will see very shortly the positions of quali and how they will line up on the track. But I can tell you, no surprises. Matty Dench might just be in number 1 with Jared Knight right beside him on the front row with a half-second gap. Looking forward to this. Daniel, it's I apologise to everyone in the Formula V's. The only way I appeared on that broadcast was in the blooper reel, and to Tony Baker, who we've just seen finish his qualifying. Very unfortunate tap on the back by me on him in the race 1, and really not much fun for either of us. But this should be some good fun. 40-minute race, a bit of strategy. Watch Matthew Dench save fuel for about 35 minutes, and then set the fastest lap on the last lap of the race.
Yeah, what's interesting about though is we joke a lot about it, which is fair. Matthew Dench doing Matthew Dench things, effectively known as the Dench mark here at the GSRC. But you would think that some of the other drivers might see what he's doing and then incorporate it or learn to do it, but it doesn't seem like anybody does. It's so powerful. His fuel saving ability is so powerful, right? Yes. And then not only that, but take into the fact that not only is he doing that, but then he's still doing minimum lap times that are crazy quick. So it's like
it's a bit like watching Glenn Maxwell play cricket and then saying, well, he can do it, I can do that. Score 100 runs off 40 balls, why not? That easy. But yeah, Dave Dench there, wishing his little boy a good luck for tonight's race. Often he doesn't need it, but a little luck always goes a long way.
Oh, it does. And I'm sure we'll be in for a fantastic race tonight. Sometimes he does get a bit of challenge at the front there, but I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure we did race Aragon last season, and he absolutely smashed it. He did tell us that he wasn't going to be at every event for the Porsche Cup this time round, but so far he's attended a decent amount of them. I think we can quickly have a look at the Porsche Cup results here, and he's leading by... What's that? So 201 at the moment. So he's leading by
42 points.
42 points, yeah. So far he's smashing it. But yes, if he decides to not attend for the next couple, then we'll probably see a new. I'm curious if maybe he's like, I'm not going to attend them all, and then the small part of his brain is like, No, I want to win.
I want another number against my championships run, but let's go through the grid. We've got Matty Dench on pole position, 1:59.296. Alongside him is Jared Knight, half a second back. Brendan Whitaker only 0.02 behind that, alongside Gordon Marshall from Scotland. Anthony Adshead running second in the points at the moment, all of 1.2 seconds back. Then Sam Muir alongside in the 1.9 MX Wraps delivery. Wayne Hewitt in 7th place. Chris Whitaker. Hello, Chris. I haven't been keeping much of a track of the Porsche Cup, so that's where the Whitakers have ended up. So that's row 4. Then you've got Paul Wilson and Alan Dawson on row 5. Over the page, we'll get Adam Lavis and David Christensen on row 6. Tony Baker and Nick Wood on row 7. And I think Joe Trucker and Aidan Schultz might just be on row 8. Which they don't show up. Oh, here we go, a little bit early. Everyone must be on the grid, and away they go. Good start by everyone involved. Tony Baker trying to make a little bit of a move on Adam Lavis straight away, and here we go. Let's see if there's any cold tyres. Someone running a little wide there, and is that Brendan Whitaker perhaps? And we've still got Adam Tice with us. Adam, what are you looking forward to in the Porsche Cup tonight?
Well, g'day Grant, and hello again everyone. Yeah, looking forward to some really tight racing. I'm not sure it's going to be too tight up the front with the Dench mark. I'm loving that, Daniel, the Dench mark. I think we should hashtag that and put it on a t-shirt and sell it in the GSRC shop. But yeah, looking for some really good racing here tonight. Porsche just tends to, it either goes either way, have lots of carnage or lots of close racing. So I'm to the latter.
If you're going to put that on a t-shirt, you better put it on the back, because that's all we ever see of Matthew Dench when we're racing, this back of him. That looks like Tony Baker and Joe Baldwin. Joe Baldwin already up 2 spots, having a good battle there. Tony Baker in the pulse tuning vehicle. Oh, Joe Baldwin, that is incredible, Daniel. That was absolutely perfectly timed. You now have the crown of producer's curse. You've taken it from me. That was instantaneous.
I will use the Shaggy defense and say it wasn't me.
Wasn't me? Alrighty, let's have a quick look through here. We've got Matty Dench from Jared Knight, half a second, well, a full second there. Brendan Whitaker in 3rd place. Then we've got Gordon Marshall in 4th place. They're all within a second of one another. Then Sam Muir is right on the back of Gordon Marshall. Then we've got Chris Whitaker in 6th, a little bit further back. That's a second and a half or so. Wayne Hewitt, Paul Wilson up from the Dev Split previously, and Tony Baker making another move there, taking David Christensen. So Adam Lavis, where we're up to, Adam Lavis in 9th spot. And in fact, we do have combined splits here. The orange background is the open split, and the black backgrounds is the pro split. There we go. So there we see Alan Dawson is... so we had Paul Wilson, then Nick Wood, then Alan Dawson. That's your Elite Cup, and then the Open Cup is Adam Lavis leading that one out. Tony Baker, David Christensen, Schultze, and Joe Baldwin after that unfortunate spin. Just got a little bit wide on the AstroTurf, and it let go, as these rear-engine cars are prone to do.
Anthony Adshead has found himself down, losing 10 spots, so car 486 is all the way down in P15. I had my head away from the screen just for a little bit, so I'm not sure if we've already had anything showed there, but yeah, Anthony's one of our elite split drivers, and he'll be pretty disappointed with being so far down.
Not only one of our elite split drivers, but second in the championship at this point in time.
We see. Oh, that wasn't his own doing. He might have got touched, I think.
Yeah, it looked a little bit convoluted, that process. It looked like there's cars going left and right, and just a little touch catching him out. Chris Whitaker in the yellow Whitaker Motorsports entry there. That's quite a fetching livery, I think, the yellow and the dark blue. And right behind Chris is Gordon Marshall in the Blackout vehicle. Yes, sponsored by Blackout by the looks of it, who were, of course, our season sponsors for the last couple of seasons prior to this one.
It's. I wonder if we know that Zach's favourite colour is yellow. I wonder if there was purpose behind the mainly yellow livery on the Whittaker vehicle.
I think Chris has normally been that yellow and blue, and Brendan's been slightly different combination. Might be the invert of that. But Tony Baker having a big look at Adam Lavis here, and this will be a tricky track as the afternoon goes on. The track temperature was pretty low. It was 21 degrees when we started, so that'll help these guys a little bit. But as you can see, there's plenty of fairly hard stops and rapid accelerations, and a couple of high-speed corners as well. So plenty of opportunity for these cars to really draw the best or otherwise of these drivers getting out there. All right for the first couple of minutes, we're just ticking over 5, but after that a little bit of laziness or fatigue or just absent-mindedness can, these cars will bite you in just a second. Good battle there between Lavis and Tony Baker. That's the Adam is the top of the non-pro split, the open split, and Tony Baker is the next in that. So that's for position for the open split. Its head starting to climb onto the back of Aiden Schultz a little bit further back, recovering from that that unfortunate sequence of events that led him to being well and truly off the track, and Joe Baldwin behind Alan Dawson. He's well back again, recovering from his spill earlier on. Matty Dench just clocks the fastest lap of the race with a 2-minute 0.637, and that is let's see, 1.2 seconds faster than last time round for Jared Knight, also Brendan Whittaker, and only half a second in front of Sam Muir.
I was just having a look at the open split standings, Grant. Yeah, the championship standings, and it's Joe Baldwin's actually leading by about 26 points over Adam Lavis. So that's going to make a difference tonight if the results stay the same, with Adam leading the open split at the moment and Joe being down where he is. And there we see him go off again, unfortunately.
Yeah, just trying to carry just that little bit too much speed, and the old Porsche, when the downforce drops and you get into the corner, that too much speed will bring you undone just like that. So the only thing in Joe's favour here, or one of the big things in his favour, is there's only 2, 4, 5 of them in the open split. So the Porsche's having a mid-season break by the looks of it. Everyone's gone on summer vacation, but the racing's continuing to go on. So Joe won't lose that many points against Adam for the racing points at least. And now Denchi drops down into the 159s. It's 159.95 last time around. Full second quicker than Jared Knight, and he holds a very, very comfortable 3.8 second lead.
Are we expecting there to... I'm assuming we're going to be expecting a pit stop at some point too, gentlemen?
Yes, at least one, I would think. 40-minute race tonight, so Denchi will probably do one. Interesting looking at Adam Lavis on the back of Paul Wilson. Paul Wilson was the championship winner last season, I think, and was promoted, duly promoted. So these two were very familiar with racing one another during the course of last season, and looks like Adam might just be being held up just a little bit by Paul Wilson, but on a track like this that's so windy and really only the one good long straight, very difficult to find a spot to overtake unless someone's going to politely escort themselves off the track. So we'll see how that works out as we go, but early stages, very much a matter of getting into rhythm, get the car going, find how the car's responding to the track, and there we go. It's the green and blue for Brendan Whittaker. So green for Brendan and yellow or gold for Chris. But he's right on the back of Jared Knight, and maybe that's why they're opening up such a gap between themselves and Matty Dench. As we well know, just the mere presence of a driver in your rear vision mirror, despite the old crew chief saying, don't worry about him, make him go the long way round, and all the wonderful advice that crew chief has. It does take your attention away from actually just focusing on the apexes in front.
Now, Grant, I'm going back to our days where I first started commentary with your fine self when we were broadcasting on a Friday night, and I often had a useless piece of information to fill in the gap. And so
Yes.
tonight's useless piece of information is that MotorLand Aragón in 2012 hosted Stage 7 of the Vuelta a España cycling event. There you go.
Wow.
That's
good that you put that under the banner of useless information, because people just listen to me and everything that comes out of my mouth is pretty useless. So you're lucky you've just got the one for the evening. Just like my useless information starts at hello and good evening and finishes with thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Ladies and Gentlemen Sim Racing Club.
I'm sure it's not that severe.
Great battle going on here. Wilson, Lavis, Baker and Christensen in very close company. Paul Wilson will be feeling a little bit of heat there, because once you're up into that elite class, you really don't want to let them pesky open class boys get the better of you. So we know how good Adam Lavis is with his fuel saving as well. He's a cunning operator and lives the sim racing life so comprehensively that he'll be thinking about what's the best strategy from here. It's too early to pit if it's only a one-stopper. Way too early to pit and get home. So he'll just sit there, save a bit of fuel. Hope that Tony Baker doesn't start to ruin his party, but we can see they've closed right up on him over the last 3 laps. The gap now to just 0.3. Well, 2.65. Adam looks like he's getting a little bit toey here, and he might be looking to have a crack at him somewhere here. At least put pressure on and try and do the easiest pass in motor racing, that being when the other car has a little moment, misses a brake marker or just runs a little wide and escorts himself from the premises. So he's certainly applying the blowtorch.
Now, Grant, I don't actually own this track, and so therefore I've never raced on it. Is there many passing opportunities here? I know that, we do have our mix where there's, we saw in the Barber race, the V races before, there was probably 3 or 4 different passing opportunities. How about this track?
I'm a bit like you. I might have had to buy it for a broadcast at some stage. Oh, here we go. That dreaded sound, Schultze. What's happened to Schultze? He's just slow into there and a little bit too much jandle on the way out. And he's spun that and fast exited, certainly, to the pits with thanks to Sprayton Cider from Tasmania. Yeah, look, I haven't raced on here that I can recall, but we can see there's that long main straight into the hairpin. Here goes Christensen on Baker. So Baker must have just had a little bit of a moment there. Baker's got the inside running. Christensen right alongside. He'll make the move. Baker's dropped that back into the gap behind Christensen. And during the course of that, Lavis has skipped away to 2.6 second lead. So I'm thinking Baker had a pretty big moment maybe at the end of that main straight. And that's put them out of sequence. Just that one little slip up can bring you undone like that. We'll have a look through the placings as we enjoy this battle, because this is very entertaining and just up the road. As well. Oh, there goes Baker again. Maybe he needs to start adjusting that brake bias a bit, because that was a big inside lock. It's going bad to worse for him, but. Out in front, Matty Dench is 7.2 seconds in front of Brendan Whitaker. Jared Knight then is 1 second back from Whitaker. Muir 1.2 back from Knight. And Chris Whitaker is closing that down a bit. That's down to 3.6 seconds between Whitaker and Muir. Yeah, well, Dave, your guess is as good as mine. I'm thinking we've seen this from him before as well. Some nights he will just set green sector after green sector after green sector, and some nights he will save some fuel. And you know what? Some nights he does both at the same time, so it's very hard to tell. Oh, that's a moment for Wilson. Wilson will close the door down on him. Oh, Adam Lavis, very nicely done. Wilson didn't close him down too much. That's brilliant driving from those two. As we said from previous seasons of the Open Cup, they're very familiar with racing with one another. So it's showing us as Aidan Schultz has probably left the building, I think. Had enough after his Formula V performance this evening. And the rest of the 15 vehicles all trundling down around in very nice function. But Lavis, as we thought, might have been being held up just a little bit by Tony Baker. Not Tony Baker, Paul Wilson. And he's just built that lead out already to 0.6 of a second. Oh, Chris Whittaker wide there, and Gordon Marshall is going to have a big look. Chris Whittaker just a little late, maybe missed that braking marker. And Gordon Marshall all over the back of him now. Oh, so close. You can read the part and a little wiggle from him as he came out. Yeah, read the part number on that rear wing. And you can see that these cars I've found are a little bit like the supercars in that you really have to have your braking and your steering done quite early so that the car can then flow out of the corner. That the more you're pushing it, we've often said of these Porsches, once you lock up those wheels, they're like a Coles shopping trolley heading down the aisle in whatever direction it chooses. Once it locks up those front tyres, you've got nothing, and you're just on the way to your own accident. But Marshall really starting to apply some pressure. The Whittaker taking a wide entry to maximise his exit as he comes on this big main straight. So that was very clever from him. Got wide, slowed up on the apex and got a good exit, and that's just completely nullified Marshall's opportunity. And the draft really not doing that much down that long main straight, so very interesting.
If we rewind maybe a couple of minutes where we had the rear on board of Whittaker and Marshall just getting very close. It actually was a really good save by Gordon because the Porsche is one of those types of cars where if you do lose it, it's very, very hard to regain control. So it was well done to Gordon there.
It was indeed. Yeah, Matt hasn't set a fastest lap for a little while. He's about 1 second off his best time. So I would say he put the pedal down, built up that lead, and here comes Marshall again, really closing up. Yeah, Matt's... I feel like I've got a pretty good read on him these days. I'd say he built that lead out. It's out to just on 9 seconds now. And then he's just saving that little bit of fuel, probably looking at his fuel calc and going, oh, not, 5.6 laps to the next pit stop. Let's see if I can make it 6 laps and save that extra lap. And just running that 1 second or so, 0.8. Paul Wilson, here we go. What's going to happen here? Yeah, just a little bit quick. Looks to me like he's used the fourth pedal right up until the point that he's only used the one on the right. What they often call the fourth pedal is applying the accelerator and the brake at the same time, and it tends to stabilise the car significantly in a slide. It'll stop you going all the way around. But
I'll cut in just a second there. Here's my useless fact. So, for those of you who watch any YouTube content of sim racing and whatnot, you're probably familiar with the name Jimmy Broadbent, who was on a team with Super GT and Misha, and they raced in the 6 hours of the Nordschleife in the VLN, I believe it's called. And those cars, some of the lower classes are based on road cars, so they're spec'd out with a roll cage and everything that you would expect the safety features of a race car. But for all intents and purposes, they are a road car. And interestingly, when Misha took over that team's car, the engine cut out on him 3 times. Oh. So he had to pull over to the side of the track and then go through the start procedure again and get going. It turns out that BMW, if you brake and accelerate at the same time, the engine goes, uh-oh, and cuts out.
How
And,
about that?
and you can't turn it off because with that class, you're supposed to keep
Yeah.
essentially all
Yeah.
the features. So TC you can turn down, but you can't really ever turn it off. So it's just
Whittaker
interesting.
wide. Whittaker wide lights it up on the exit.
Oh.
Marshall goes down the inside. Oh my goodness me. Whittaker very, very wide into that. Now Marshall will get this done. Will he have the speed on the exit? Oh, our feed just locking up a little bit. Alan Dawson's copped a rear contact with Nick Wood. This isn't done yet. Now Gordon Marshall gets it done. This part of the track, a little reminiscent to the S's at Bathurst, coming over the hill and then a sweep in and out. Whittaker taking some different lines, and now closing on the back of these guys is Wayne Hewitt, I think, closed right up on these two as they've been bickering. That was good patience from Marshall, and Whittaker just that little bit wide, but he wasn't going to let it go, was he? He was like a dog with a bone there. He was like, no, you don't, and until George said, oh yes, I do, laddie. So nice work. I love that livery, the stylised Scottish flag for Gordon Marshall. We had another Gordon Ramsay was another one of our races, and not the F Gordon Ramsay, but I wonder if he's changed his iRacing name or if this is another one. But look at Whittaker, outbraked himself now. Hewitt will come into this. He's going to be all over the big. Oh, he's cooked his tyres for the moment. Whittaker's really heated up these tyres and the car's misbehaving on him. He's just really pushing that little bit too hard. Nick Wood down the inside of Christensen now. A great move from Wood. He's just put it there. Is that one done? Not quite. They'll have to fight it all the way through to the next sequence. And Tony Baker says, yeah, thanks for holding the door open. I'll be on my way. So very nice work from Tony Baker. Will he have a go at Nick Wood? He has a look there. And a little lock up from Wood as well. And now Tony Baker says, yes, I will have that. Thanks very much. Very nice work from the boys to keep it so tight and so close. And Christensen, he's not done with this yet. He's just waiting for that little error that's very possibly going to come. Alan Dawson now joining on to the back of these guys as well. Really tricky car, these to drive. They're just right on the limit of adhesion all the time. That's the only way you can get them to go quick. But great watching these guys go about their business. Out in front, of course, the fellow who we these days only hear about, never see, Matty Dench, 12 seconds or 11.5 seconds for the good of Brendan Whittaker, who's doing a great job there with Jared Knight tucked right under his rear bumper.
Tony
there goes
Baker's
Tony
off.
Baker. He's lost it there. We might have a look back at that if Dan can show us. Did he light it up on exit? Yes, just a little early on the throttle on the AstroTurf, and around it went. Oh my goodness me! And Anthony Adshead now comes into play in behind that. So Adshead doing a good job of recovering. He's still down 7 spots from his row 2 position, but doing a good job of catching back up and making ground. So he'll tuck in on the back of Dawson there. We can see in the car 62, who's just in there. Nat is constantly putting a second lap faster. Yes, he is. And I posted the live timing link. I'll post it to Facebook as well. So you can have your very own set of stats to have a look at. There's a link just going in there. So it's on YouTube and Facebook now, and you can see it's a fantastic asset to look at. I think I'm the one guy who brought the Formula One app a couple of years ago, where you could do all that sort of thing when the coverage wasn't particularly good at showing your favourite driver who's down the back of it. Nick Wood having a few little internet connection issues and not doing the full backflip this time, but just setting up an array of asphalt sparks. Gap out in front, 12.4 seconds. Knight perfectly happy just to sit on the back of Whittaker. They swap places shortly after the start. Here we go. Jared Knight in the House of Serenity, the HTS racing livery in car 92, and Brendan Whittaker doing good job in there.
Big slide.
Having said that, yeah, just a little bit lazy or a little bit eager there, and will Jared Knight want to take it over? He seems to have been quite happy to sit there, but if Brendan's going to muck things up for them, then he's going to have to get a scurry on, because Sam Muir has now joined on to the back of these guys. You're welcome, Dave. Yeah, I always used to look at the gaps and you go 0.81. Okay, next time they go through a microsector, 0.84. Well, they're broadening out the gap, but that information will load up in any browser and give you all the information, the pit stop times, I think the pit lap. There's a lot you can do with that display as well, so have a play around with that if you get it. So Whitaker now just in front of Jared Knight. Well, not now. They've been like that since the start of the race. But Sam Muir.
Oh, he's round!
Marshall first to pit, and there he goes. Ah, who was that? Was that Brendan that went around? It was indeed.
It was Brendan.
Yep. Yeah, and now Chris will come right onto him. Let's have a look at this. Oh, yeah, I think these tyres are getting a little bit hot and bothered. He's done well to gather that back up, and however, he's lost 6 seconds to Sam Muir in front of him. Jared Knight now 14.8 seconds behind Matt Dench up in front. So yeah, Gordon Marshall first of the pitters, and we'll see how that works out for him as we go. He's dropped right down the field, so that's why you won't see anyone pitting too soon, because you then have a hell of a lot of work to get through the other cars. Not such an issue if they're all going to start pitting very shortly. So it's Dench from Knight, then Muir, then Brendan Whitaker, Chris Whitaker, just 4.2 seconds between Chris Whitaker and Brendan. Wayne Hewitt still on the back of Chris Whitaker, then Nick Wood, Anthony Adshead. So Anthony's moved up again. He's in front of Christensen, Lavis, Baker. Then Paul Wilson, Gordon Marshall dropped right back in, that's about 13th, I think. Then Alan Dawson, then Joe Baldwin. Joe hasn't done a lot to rectify that early couple of spills, but he'll stick in there. As we said, there's only about 5 or 6 places between Open Cup positions. So if he keeps at it, he will not lose a lot of points to Adam Lavis, who's second in the championship. Joe being the leader of the Open Cup championship at the moment. So looking at the PGZ team livery car, we were, and that's Matty's 15 seconds of fame for tonight. When he gets out nearly 16 seconds in the lead, it's a little metronomic. It is awesome, Dave. I'm glad you're able to access that, and that's available every night we race. Some nights it's Adam Maverick on the end where Kunai Zero exists on this feed, and sometimes it's Oculaire, which is mine, and Sam Chapman will have another one as well. But whenever we're broadcasting these stats are available to everyone. Big clutching. Paul Wilson drops the clutch in, saves a lot of fuel there. They did change the way iRacing deals with fuel saving, but it is effectively lift and coasting. Just something you have to be really, really careful about when you're clutching, because when you do re-engage the clutch, you've got to make sure your revs are roughly matched and you're not spinning the back of the car out. But we are sitting on board Paul Wilson, who's sitting in 13th spot. Marshall, yeah, another little clutch there. Marshall, leader of those two have pitted. Alan Dawson has pitted, and Joe Baldwin has been in as well. Schultz left the building. I think he's having a peanut butter sandwich with Elvis somewhere, but I hope not, because that would be pretty dramatic.
That is a dated reference, ladies and gentlemen.
A fried bacon and peanut butter loaf of bread, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Poor old Elvis. He's actually living and happy on the Gold Coast, but we won't tell anyone that. So,
just a bit of a community service announcement for Dave Dench there too. Dave, on the top right-hand side, there's a little wheel where you click, a little cog you can click on, and you can adjust what you see, the type of columns that you see. So You can remove things that you don't want to see, like iRating or iRating change, and you can put in country flag and best lap time and those sorts of things. So it is we use it here, and it is a great resource to keep an eye on how well Matt is going.
Looks like Hewitt's come into the pits, and 10th place Christensen has also come into the pits. So pit stops now happening 30 minutes into a 40-minute race. So there's been a bit of flexibility there. What is it, lap 15 now? Coming up as lap 14 for these guys who have pitted. Let's see how Mr. Dench goes about his business out in front. And very nicely is the answer to that question. Just rolling along very, very nicely. Setting 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a half, lap after lap after lap. Yes, Dan?
I was just wondering, it's for those, as Dave, looking at live timing to see how Matt's doing, is there really much of a difference between having an actual live timing screen and just loading up the stopwatch? Like, if you just load up the stopwatch app on your phone and click go, that'll be pretty much the exact same distance between watching the live timing and the stopwatch. It just keeps going up and up and up and up.
Oh, yes, I see what you're saying with Matthew's time. Yeah, it's certainly incrementally improving, isn't it? But we've got the number of laps completed, the gap, the interval. The intervals, the gap's a good one to see because you've got the gap to the leader as separate from the interval between you and the car in front and the car behind. He is just metronomic, isn't he? So inch perfect. Doesn't hit the little pass along the inside. Not changing down too early to create some engine compression. He's just at the right moment. Very, very relaxed by the sounds of it. So
the thing I love it
just 4/10 quicker than Jared Knight last time round. Sorry, Adam.
You're right. No, I was just going to say the thing I love about Mr. Dench too, like he wipes the floor with everyone. Let's admit that there's no airs and graces about him, and someone will throw something in the Discord chat about setup or whatever, and Matt's just sharing away his setup and offering advice and all that sort of thing. I think that's real class from a guy who's multi-champion in this club.
Absolutely, and not only here. Sam Chapman's in the booth from Race Control. What have you got to elucidate for us, Sam?
It's been a pretty quiet night. No one's really been calling anything into comms. I think just an incident with Adset and Alan Dawson that I ended up sort of having a bit of a look at. It was a little bit of an netcode at play, but it was really an unsafe rejoin, and it resulted in Anthony facing the wrong way, so 5 seconds there because of that netcode impact. Otherwise, it probably would have been a little bit more. He also just had a rear end with Nick Wood, and it was quite a large hit, but Nick was pretty very good at saving it. So ended up just doing a license point as he sort of self-penalised there. So they've been pretty good tonight. It's a tough track on tyres. These I've been seeing a few squirreling around, even Deji from time to time, even if his best lap is 8/10 faster than the next guy. But yeah, they're all doing a pretty good job out there, all in all.
They are indeed, and most of the incidents have been self-induced. We've seen just cooking those wheels, the tyres up a little bit, and often pressure from the car behind. And we're seeing who's that? Whitaker, Brendan going past Tony Baker there, and Whitaker has stopped. He stopped from second place. Dench has been in and out of the pits as well. We've missed that during that process. Jared Knight, everyone bar Nick Wood and Tony Baker and Paul Wilson have been in and out of the pits, and there goes who was that? Nick Wood going into the pits. So this will be cleansed now, and we're only what are we? We're only 7 minutes or so from the end of the race. So look for Matthew Dench to maybe now that the track's rubbered in a little bit, he might just have an inkling to have a crack at that fastest lap again. Probably save it up for the last lap in Verstappen style. And somehow every time I say Verstappen, I get a little bit of the Sean Connery's on, Max Verstappen.
Smoking a pancake.
Yeah, so he'll probably save that up for the end of the race, but we'll keep an eye on that, and we see Sam Muir's set his fastest sector 2 as he goes through on our live timing app, which everyone is now madly getting a laptop to sit beside their main computer. Oh, that's probably not an off track until you get all the way onto the green there. I'm not sure. As I said, I never raced on this one. I may have only put it for a broadcast previously. Adshead doing a good job of recovery, sitting down in 12th, but he's probably dropped back a little bit after that earlier incident. He qualified second, I think, didn't he? Which
Yeah, he did, I think.
was very impressive from him.
Yeah.
Grant, just a question. With your Sean Connery impression, would
Yeah.
your Sprayton non-alcoholic cider be shaken or stirred?
Oh, definitely shaken, not stirred. So, yes, indeed, and it would go very nicely at the moment. Like I said, a truckload of the sponsor's product to the broadcast booth, please. Brilliant to have Sprayton on board with their non-alcoholic ciders. As I said, they do have a range of adult beverages as well, which we're not allowed to disclose on iRacing broadcasts, but they are a brand new sponsor of the club, and we love having a evening sponsor for Thursday nights, because it was a little bit bare there. Well, Brendan
was.
Whitaker, I think, has that's what we're going to have a look at now. Yeah, he lost that early. Oh, he's fourth pedaled it, and he's done exactly what our other friend did. Was it Tony Baker, when he's just spun it on the recovery.
Yeah,
So,
super tough track on tyres, this one. I was just going to
Yeah.
add earlier, Grant, track
Yeah.
limits around here are actually about as simple as they come, which is great.
Okay. Yeah.
It is when the centre of all four wheels are on the green painted asphalt. As soon as that is the case, the centre of all four wheels are on the green painted asphalt, then you go off track, right? So if the centre of your last wheel goes onto the green painted asphalt, you're done. But outside of that, you can use as much curb as you want.
Okay, thanks for adding that. And that makes it even harder to determine whether you've gone off track. Oh, there's Marshall. Marshall doing a great move on Whitaker, is it? Yes, on Chris Whitaker. They've been at it all night, and side by side they go through this section. Doing a very good job. Marshall concedes, but he goes for the over and under. Chris again will go very, very wide as they come on in the main straight, just to check him up on the exit to try and hang on to it. But let's have a look at the times as they go down through here. It's a quarter of a second. It's clicking down by the hundredth, fifth of a second. 0.15, he's pulling up alongside. Will he make this stick? It is 0.05, right alongside, and he concedes. No, he doesn't. Chris breaks a little early and then locks it up. They've both gone wide. Marshall hangs on to it. Oh, that's about as good as you get at the end of that long straight. You watch the guy next to you for when he breaks and try and break one car length later. And they to and froed just a little bit there. And Wayne Hewitt once again closing in on the back of these guys. These guys are having a lot of fun out here.
Yeah, Gordon Marshall doing his best William Wallace impression. They can take our lives, but they will not take my apex. Whitaker just locking up, going on the outside there. So for the pride of Scotland, Marshall over to P4. I love it.
Freedom, yes indeed. Well done, sir. We'll just go through the placings for those who've been lulled into a stupor by my conversation, at least. Matty Dench has a lead of 19 seconds over Jared Knight. Still hasn't set his fastest lap. Adshead now having a dig at Christensen. Gets the job done. Oh, just about. Oh, that was very, very close. Christensen, in my experience, is really quite an aggressive racer. He will not give you a millimetre more than he needs to. But that was a nice move from Adshead, and with his qualifying pace, he's certainly got some speed in that vehicle and under his twinkle toes. but nicely done from him. So we had Dench leading Knight by 19.5 seconds. Then Sam Muir's about 2.75 back from there. Gordon Marshall, with his battles with Chris Whittaker's, they've got a gap of about 16.5 seconds to Sam Muir. Chris Whittaker now dropping 1.3 seconds back on Marshall. After Marshall, we have Whittaker, then Wayne Hewitt, just 1.3 seconds behind Chris Whittaker. Then Brendan Whittaker's next in line. He's 7.4 seconds back from Wayne Hewitt. So that's in 7th place. 8th place is Nick Wood, right on the back of Brendan Whittaker. Then Adam Lavis on the back of Whittaker. Nick Wood then very close to Adam Lavis. And here's Adshead having another go. Who's he having a go at? At Christensen again, yes indeed. So as I said, Christensen will not give you a millimetre. He's a very strong and competitive driver out on the racetrack, which is of course his absolute right. There's nothing wrong with that so long as it doesn't cross over the barrier into race control's domain. So then we've got Adam Lavis leading out the open split in 8th place overall, but leader of the opens. Then we go Alan Dawson, David Christensen, Tony Baker, Anthony Adshead, Paul Wilson, and Joe Crucker. So Adshead's dropped back a little bit there. We must have just missed it after his battle there with Christensen. He's dropped a spot to Tony Baker, so he's having a hard time getting it all back together. But looking now at Hewitt, and Hewitt doing a good job right in the back of Chris Whittaker. So Whittaker's had, who's that's been off? Is
Joe Baldwin.
Joe Baldwin had a very unhappy night out there this evening. You might need the 7-second delay for Joe when he comes in, although I think most of it's been self-induced, much like my... and here we go for the end of the race. Thank you for cutting to that in time with a 20-second, and he didn't set the fastest lap of the race. Jared Knight will come back in 21 seconds down, but we're looking at Wayne Hewitt and Chris Whittaker. That's for 5th and 6th. But across the line after Dench will be Jared Knight just crossing now. Sam Muir will be the next one after that. Then Marshall just in front of Sarah Whittaker. He nearly left the door open again. He just hung on to that. So Marshall will come across the line in 4th place. Then Chris Whittaker in 5th. And he's opened up a nice little gap to Wayne Hewitt there in 6th. Then Brendan Whittaker will come home in 7th. And Adam Lavis will just hold off a rampaging Nick Wood. Adam Lavis will take out the Open Cup this evening. Then after Wood, it was Dawson, then Adshead and Christensen. Tony Baker will be the next one home after that. And then Adshead. And the feed I'm watching is coming and going just a little bit, and live timing's flicking around a bit as well. So not a bad race. There was plenty going on through the middle part of the field, but once again, Mr. Dench ran away with it. He's like the the little dog who jumped over the moon, wasn't he? And the dish ran away with the spoon. We'll call Matty Dench the dish. Or the spoon. Probably prefer the dish. But great work from him tonight. Matty Dench from flag to flag without ever being headed. Thank you, David. Your comments and support are always greatly appreciated by us tucked in the booth here. Adam Tice, let me have a sip of water while you
Yes.
regale us with your observations of the evening.
Oh, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same, really, isn't it? But we see race results on screen. Matthew Dench, car number 1, finishing in position number 1. And no doubt extending his lead in the championship. Jared Knight will be pretty happy with position number 2. And Sam Muir rounds out the podium in the 1.9 MX Wraps Racing 194 car. With Gordon Marshall putting in a good showing at the end there. And then Chris Whittaker, Wayne Hewitt, P6. Brendan Whittaker finishing a couple of spots behind his brother. Adam Lavis taking out the P1, the open split position tonight, with Nick Wood, Alan Dawson, Anthony Adshead, who was our qualified second position. I think he'd be slightly disappointed finishing there in position 11. David Christensen, who ties up position number 2 in the open split. Tony Baker, position number 3 in the open split. Well done to him. Paul Wilson. Joe Baldwin has had a night he'd probably like to forget. And then Aidan Schultz rounds out the field. And poor Aidan left early, so he'd also have a night he'd rather forget as well.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, the bonus for Joe there is he's only finished 4 spots behind Adam Lavis, so it'll be interesting to see how those points work out. I wouldn't expect Adam to be working on those this evening, because I think he might be back at work after a lovely 5-week holiday. If not, he's very close to being back at work. But some good racing through the field, and as Sam mentioned, there wasn't too much unruly behaviour. There was a lot of self-induced errors, but we've got Jared Knight joining us in the booth. And Jared, what did you make of it this evening? How's the track-car combo? I think the weather was only about 21 degrees, so we couldn't really blame a hot track. But how did your night go, and what are your thoughts on the combo?
Yeah, it wasn't. The combo wasn't too bad. Yeah, tonight was just about running my own race, and yeah, not worrying about what Denchi was doing when you're 6/10 up in quali. It's yeah, there's no point ruining your own race to try and chase that down. So yeah, it was just about pacing and not wearing the tyres out and minimising mistakes.
And you're tucked up behind Brendan Whitaker for a long time there. Again, just happy to conserve a bit of fuel and conserve the car as well.
Yeah, not too sure what happened with the lockup. I think it might have been into turn 4 there. Yeah, the left front just got a bit light and didn't want to pinch it too much, so yeah, just got out of it and let Brendan by and just sat behind him for a while. And yeah, just fortunate for me and unfortunate for him. He looped it at 1, and yeah, it was just trying to keep Sam behind me from there.
Yeah, it's the easiest pass you'll ever make, isn't it, when the other bloke's off track?
It is, and it isn't if they're still rotating when you go past them. So you don't want to, you don't want to misjudge it and then yeah, take both of yous out. But yeah, thankfully we both got out of that unscathed. I'm not too sure where Brendan ended up, but yeah, he had a bit of speed tonight, which was nice to see.
Yeah, he certainly did. 7th place he ended up. He had a few more, you might call them unforced errors if he was playing tennis. A few of those lockups that just lead the car very politely off the track. It's once you lock even one of your front wheels, it becomes a bit like that shopping trolley, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely at this track as well. Like, there's a lot of corners where you're braking and turning at the same time, so yeah, it's quite easy to just lighten that the front a bit too much and yeah, grab that brake and yeah, ruin your lap.
Are you playing with brake bias throughout the course of the evening, Jared, or are you a set and forgetter?
No, I do tend to adjust over the course of the race. I don't stray too far from where it's set, but yeah, I'll adjust to more rear bias probably towards the end of the race because the fronts are getting a bit worn. So just yeah, trying to minimise that brake lockup.
Yeah, I've had a few people say that, and they may be overthinking it, or they may be absolutely spot on, but because the fuel tank's in the front of the car, as the fuel comes off, the front goes that little bit lighter, so they'll often adjust for that. Is that something you have in your mind, or is that, as I suggested, maybe overthinking things a bit?
No, I think that's pretty accurate. I used to, with these cars, actually run a lot more front bias. Most sets come out around 43.5%, 44%, sorry. And I used to run anywhere from 45 to 46% brake bias, which was unheard of with the guys I was racing. But they've obviously made adjustments to these cars over the years, and just a bit more rear bias feels a bit more comfortable these days.
Yeah, I guess that goes to your driving style as well, that if you're using quite a bit of engine braking as well, then you might have that balance a little bit further forward. But the engine braking is fairly inconsistent in how you apply it. So good to hear. Good to hear that that's one of the few things you'll fiddle with during the course of the race, but often to your benefit. But 21 seconds down on Dench, as you said, that doesn't come into the equation because you're not fighting for one unless something catastrophic happens. So you've got to be pretty happy walking away with the second place tonight. Yeah,
much better than last week's efforts. I talked up a big game about loving the Detroit Porsche Cup combo, and that went very quickly. So just consolidating some points, and I don't think it's going to help me from here on anyway. I think I've missed 2 rounds, and that shocker last week's really hurt me. But it's interesting to see that a man that said he wasn't contesting the series has turned up to quite a few rounds this season.
Well, winning is quite quite the aphrodisiac, isn't it? You love it when you're winning, and he's clearly found some time to run a few laps and turn up for a few of our races, which a lot of you guys would prefer. He had a busier life.
And just that if he wasn't as good as he was, whether he practices or not, it's obviously something he does right compared to the rest of us.
At least you know where you stand with pretty much iRacing on a whole. Was it the Porsche Cup that he just casually threw out a reasonable sort of time, and someone pointed out that it was one of the top 10 times on that track and with that car? It might have been the GT3s. Matthew, you're in the booth. What was that? Was that the GT3s? And did you set a better time than you casually threw out?
Last week in Detroit, I think the world record time was 1:29.3 or something, and during the race on the last lap I did knock out a 29.1. So.
Oh, I just set a world record, just very, very casually. Like I said, Jared, you know where the benchmark is. You know where that pole vault arm is, what you've got to get over, and it seems a long way away, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like running a long distance marathon, racing in the GSRC coming up against Denchi. The finish line seems a mile ahead all the time.
And going away from you. Next week, Bathurst. What do you make of that, Jared?
Love the track, obviously.
Yes.
Haven't done too many laps in the Porsche Cup around there, but we're interesting to see how we shape up next week. I'm not too sure if I can even make it, but we'll probably cut some laps between now and then, and whether life gets in the way or not, we'll see how that goes.
Well, it's if it's set to real-world conditions, I'm thinking we can probably expect a pretty warm track as well, depending on whether this southerly change has just come through, or it could very well be a warm outing there for the Porsches. And it is just looking, 60-minute race next week, so plenty of time to think about what you're doing.
Yeah, Denji can probably add another 20 seconds onto the finishing lead with a 60-minute race.
Well, they say that second is the first of the losers, but if you're the first of the losers, that's probably a better place than being the last of the losers, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sort of becoming a bit of a habit, being the first of the losers around here.
Well, fantastic effort. Thanks for joining in with us this evening. I'll let you go, and the old HTS car is still looking an absolute picture. You'll certainly never miss the House of Serenity vehicles. So friend joining us in from Indonesia. I have no idea why he's sore, but that's probably another story. But thanks, Jared, for popping in and filling us in on the course of your race. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, cheers, Greg.
We have got Matthew Dench here. So, Matt, business as usual?
Yeah, it was a pretty fun track to go out there and cruise around, and yeah, I think it's pretty technical. Like, you got to look at like groups of corners in like 3 or 4 corners at a time. Otherwise, you get the first one wrong, and yeah, you mess up the whole sector. But yeah, just try and take it easy in the first 1 or 2 corners, and try and set yourself up for good exits. And yeah, we're just out there running some nice laps.
You were indeed. Didn't go for the fastest lap of the race at the end, or was it just not in the car?
I tried to, but yeah, just we've had the long radius corners really just puts too much heat in the tyres to be able to take the fastest lap on lap 20. But we gave it a go. We ran I think it was like a 2:0.1 on the end there, so a little bit off our fastest lap, but pretty close.
Indeed, yeah, it was a 2:00.132. Your fastest lap of the race was a 1:59.836, so that, by my reckoning, is just a tick under 3/10. But nice work from you. I was keeping an eye out for it right up until the point where the checkered flag started waving and really realised we'd been gibbering for way too long. What do you make of, well, firstly, it's been mentioned a couple of times tonight that you weren't going to do too many of the Porsche Cup, or you weren't sure how many you could do. Have you found a renewed vigour for the class?
I mean, if it's tracks that I enjoy, I'll turn up and drive. So Bathurst is a good track, 60 minutes. I'm sure there's plenty of time for me to throw it in the walls trying to run fast laps, but Watkins and Fuji are going to be a big miss for me, so that'll be
Okay.
three rounds down. So yeah, we'll have an extra round of 0 points there. So it's still up for grabs, I think.
All right, you're just opening the door a smidge while you go out for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a Sprayton's non-alcoholic cider. We've got that new sponsor on board, so that's going to certainly help the club along with the broadcasts. And I taught your dad something tonight. I taught him about the live timing screen that comes as part of the broadcast, and he's very impressed with that. So. It's all thanks, as we say, to pure Tasmanian Sprayton cider, and we thank them very much. Matt, we won't go on for too long tonight, as some of our, well, one in particular of our colleagues often does. Thank you very much for your time. Unless you've got something else you'd like to contribute, we'll wish you a good evening and move along to Adam Lavis, who might just be working on some points there by the looks of it. But we thank you for popping in and visiting. We thank you for giving us another clinic. And we shall see you next at, it will be probably in the GT3s at Interlagos. Would that be correct?
Yeah, you'll most definitely see me at Interlagos. I think the Ferrari is extremely strong there this time round, so it should be really fun, I think.
Excellent, and from what I've heard, they have in fact made the Ferrari a little bit stronger. It's not made out of papier-mâché anymore. It's probably more akin to egg carton material or something, is it?
Yeah, I've seen people rub doors a bit and trade a bit of paint with them now, and they hold up quite alright. So yeah, it should be pretty fun, I think.
Excellent, and the old classic of always drive the new car to the service because it's going to be quicker because they want to sell more of them. Tends to continue to ring true, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it could be that, but it could be also, new model versus old model. The new model's always going to be a little bit better, so they've got to, because there's older models in the service, they've got to try to equal it out a little bit, and they can only do that by throwing it out there and see what happens, really.
Indeed. All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing you at Interlagos. Are you running any of the Super 2s or not?
No, I tend to stay away from the supercars these days. My right foot does not agree with them.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. But we thank you, as I said, for popping along. Adam or Daniel, have you got anything you'd like to ask of Matt before he leaves the building?
G'day, Matt, and congrats on your win tonight. I guess just a question I have: Does Matt Dench actually have any weaknesses at all? Batty, is there something that you tend to work on more than anything else?
I can answer that. His weakness is that if he has to wait too long for a race, he sleeps through it.
He knows it too well.
And if he has to wait too long for to have his say on the commentary, he just leaves as well. Which is, of course, I would do much the same thing. But have you any weaknesses, Matthew?
I think I did have quite a few weaknesses once upon a time, and then I grabbed that coaching session, and we kind of ironed most of those out, I think.
That was Gianni Luzzi, wasn't it? You did your coaching with, or was it a number of people?
It was Daniel Morad,
Okay.
real life GT3 driver.
Oh yeah, I can see how that might help. So I imagine that didn't come cheaply either.
It was about $80 an hour, so we only did 1 hour.
And he just knocked the rough bits off the diamond and sent you on your way.
Yeah, he showed me enough of the correct tools and how to analyse things to place it across any car, any track. So yeah, we just sort of stuck with that, and yeah, it's pretty good.
So what are you using for your technical analysis? Is that the Motec, or what are you using there?
I only use Motec if I'm going to get like super competitive setups. So
Yep.
you know, if I'm racing for good old hard cash, I'll pull out Motec and make the setups. But it's generally just run a few laps, watch the replay, and just analyse the inputs there.
Okay, just real old school style.
Yeah, it's much quicker to do it that way than you know, pulling data and throwing it into Motec and then looking at it there. So.
Now, I've said to Zach on a few occasions, Matthew Dench is quite the enigma. What small personal detail would you like to share with us? How old are you? And yeah, how old are you? Would you like to share or not?
I mean, I turn 40 next month.
Well, that's a little surprise. I think a lot of us probably thought you're a younger fella, but you're still a younger fella to me, mate. And gainfully employed or independently wealthy?
Work full time as IT support.
Right. Okay, well, that's interesting.
That's going to be a stab in the heart. Everyone, he works full time and he's this fast. No worries.
Indeed. No, thanks, Matt.
Andy could read Motec information.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those that don't know, that's data analysis. You can see your brake, like the F1 guys do. You can see your braking points and your speed across the whole lap, and you can compare it to good laps and bad laps, and you can see, well, that's where I went too wide, and look at the steering inputs. So that gets really quite complicated, as he said, but he's got the eye that he can just look at a replay of something and say, oh yeah, I can see I need to, just change the dampers there, or stiffer suspension, or whatever the case may be. But Matt, now I will let you go, now that we've got a few little details, and I wish you a very happy birthday coming up.
Yeah, thank you. We'll catch everyone on Monday.
Good on you, mate. Appreciate it.
I might just quickly jump into,
yes.
for those of you who are interested in things like Motec, there is a free alternative which is really, really good. Being built at the moment. It's called Garage 61. So for anybody who's interested in iRacing and you want to maybe look at getting into the more technical aspect of analyzing telemetry, garage61.net. Oh, actually, I believe it's garage61.app maybe. It is
anything to do with Driver 61?
Well, so it's funny you should say that. It isn't, and Driver 61 actually has their own version.
Okay.
Scott Mansell and the team are developing they're developing a training tool called Trophy.ai, which uses, as it implies, an AI system to help you get better on the track. Their system's actually quite good. It's invite only at the moment, but what it does is it has overlays on your braking, and it uses audio cues. So I'm part of the testing team for that. And as you drive, it loads in the background, and then it analyzes the track that you're on. And as you come up to where you should brake, it gives you like almost like a DRS beep. So it just goes doot doot doot, and it lets you know. And then you're like, okay, I should brake here. That works okay for some people. That would be more beneficial. But I am more of an old school. I want to see the brake light, the throttle trace, and the brake trace, and the steering inputs, and then I can go from there. So for anyone who wants that, Garage61. It also has a really good team function. So if you're a group of drivers in a team, you can all set up on Garage61, download the telemetry tool, which will grab all your telemetry files from iRacing and automatically upload them to the service. And what it also does is you can very quickly share setups between your team members. So if everybody's in a team and you drag a setup to your team folder, it automatically syncs to everyone on your team. So
now there is a little precursor to that. There's some little key combination you've got to hit to actually record your telemetry, isn't there?
If you download the Garage61 tool,
it'll sort it out.
It'll automatically grab the telemetry files for you. So it's really just one click and you're done. And then it's fantastic. And not only that, but most people will know about services like VRS and PDS. And Garage61 is almost like a free alternative to that. So as long as someone has made the setup public, you can go and find the car, the track combination, find the ranking board, and if the driver's made it available, you can pull that setup straight off that laptop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot going on. I'm actually really pleased we got a few details about Matt, because I was starting to wonder if he was AI, in fact. Just doesn't make mistakes. And, in my field, I've been involved in graphics and broadcasting for a very long time, Photoshop and all that sort of thing. And there's so much that the AI is doing now. It would have done me out of a job if I hadn't retired, I think. But it looks like we've got the results up and done. So Matty Dench now 264. Anthony Adshead still holding on to second place, and I think Ticey, even you could do the maths on the gap he's got there.
Yeah, you're 13 points. Wow.
Thank you very much. 70 points there. Paul Wilson not far behind and up one spot in third place. Nick Wood jumps up 2 spots. Jake Jackson, didn't turn up because he's probably still suffering from the horrible unsafe rejoin I inflicted upon him in the Porsches the other night. So Nick Wood in 4th, Brendan Whittaker 5th, Sam Muir 6th, Chris Whittaker 7th, Jackson now down to 8th, Ben Pedersen not here tonight, down to 9th, and Jared Knight up 1 to 10th spots. So as we've heard, Jared might not be able to make it next week, but we'll have drop rounds coming in just 2 weeks. Can't believe it's week 5 already. It's flying through. And very small field, I got to say, tonight. We'd love to see some more drivers on board for the Sprayton Cider non-alcoholic version for the rest of the season, but we'll see how we go. Looking at the Open Cup standings, that's tightened up that little bit. Adam Laver scored 28 points. We haven't got tonight's points. That's bonus points. But look at the bonus points. Adam's racking up 28 to Joe's 12. Joe leading with 263, just a 3-point gap to Adam Lavis now in second place. Joe probably very thankful there are only 4 spots between him and Adam tonight. Certainly saved his bacon somewhat there. Tristan Koch in third place, Stephen Gallagher 4th. David Christensen has jumped up 3 places in 5th place. Pretty tight amongst that 4th, 5th, 6th. Just 5 points separating the 3 of those. And Brett Bradbury did not race this evening, nor Dale Sharp. Tony Baker had a run, and that jumps him up 3 places into 8th. Sean Reeves, Ben Woods, and Adam Tice has had a run or 2 in there, and sitting in 11th place.
I'm still in with the shot, Grant.
I'm saying there's a chance. Excellent. So that's where we are, half series distance, and really cannot believe we're getting up to Christmas before you know it. I'll be putting the Christmas decorations up, and that's always an interesting time. So Friday night, let's have a look what's going on. We've got those American cars that are a lot like Formula One, but just a little bit different, that often race on ovals. Okayama, 45 laps around there, starting at 8:30. Just the one race, not broadcast because of contractual stipulations. Mountain Men on Saturday night. The Skip Barbers. Oh, if it wasn't going out to dinner night with my lovely wife on a Saturday, I'd probably have a crack at that. 32 laps. Again, starts at 8:30. There's a couple of wave rounds, a couple of safety cars involved in the Mountain Men, as most would know by now. Jumping into week 6, round 6, as we would say, a broadcast. We have got the Super 2s from Circuit Park Zandvoort, and that'll be the Super 2s this time. We had Super 3s last week. We had a Super 3 and AM split week last week, so we're back to the pros this week. Oh, is it? The Super 2s on Monday is
Super 3s and then AM split.
Oh, Super 3s. Copy that. So it is Super 3's 25-minute race from Circuit Park Zandvoort. I'm not sure if I've got Zandvoort. I'll probably have to buy it now. And we are going, thank you, that was the dulcet tones of Adam Lavis chiming in there. Interlagos for the GT3 series, and that's the Pro with a 60-minute race starting at 8:45.
AM split.
Again,
is,
AM split.
It's
Sorry.
Super 3 and AM split, yeah.
Oh, copy. I'm just reading.
Yeah, that's fine.
Tuesday night, for the moment, no broadcast because I think I'm filling in again for... Is Zach back next week, Adam, or is it me again?
I think he's got another week off, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, Zach is planning to be back Monday. It just depends if he gets his flight delayed.
Yeah, I think he flies into Sydney at 1 o'clock or something. First half.
The current plan is he's on board. It just depends on whether Qantas or Virgin or whoever is deciding to go with.
All right, well, I'll stand by. So we'll skip a broadcast for Tuesday night for the moment, but we will have another couple of those during the course of the season. We hope so. Mazda MX-5s at Alton Park Historic, and Ticey, I believe you might just be leading the series in up-and-comers right at this point in time.
Yeah, the results are done by AI. I opened the results just before and had a bit of a look, and what an absolute fluke that is. Far out.
Are they done by Auntie Iris? Is that AI?
No, it's a good series though, Grant. It's one that, if you're kind of fairly new to the club or feel like you're not up to the pace of the Matt Denchers of the world, come along on a Tuesday night.
Wait a minute, that's everyone.
Actually, yeah, that's true. We'd love to have you along. Yeah,
it's a development series. Is the intention of that? It's come quite away from the original up and comers, but that was initially instigated because there were so many of us coming to sim racing on computer platforms that. With all sorts of different backgrounds and experiences, so that's where the Up and Comers series came from. But that's 7:55 on a Tuesday night, just that little bit later, and then the Aston Martin GT1 Cup, Sandown Motor Raceway DB9 versus the Corvette, which very few people are racing. But Sandown, it might actually finally be a good car combo. Adam, did you race on Tuesday night at? What was it? Another one of the little tracks, wasn't it? Summit Point. Did you? How was it? Was it interesting racing? Because I turned a few laps and I just went, not for me.
It was all right. It's still very tight twisted for a big belly car.
Yeah.
But plus, I got to get into Pete's ear about his fuel strategy. We basically had a 1 lap window if you saved fuel. So some of the guys had to do a 2 stops. It was weird. Because he basically gave us half the fuel to get home, or just under. But
he's a shrewd fella.
But yeah, I think next week's a bit more of a normal track. So hopefully we get a few more bums on seats, and hopefully we'll get him to put the 55 or 60% fuel that I've told him to bring, and we'll have a proper race.
You'd think a bloke that works with electronic devices would be able to find a calculator app on one of them and work that out.
He likes putting pump on. He enjoys twisting the screws and trying to make things different.
Making it difficult. Good on you, Pete. We love you. Orbic is the sponsor, of course, of our Wednesday night broadcast of the GT4s. But we'll start with Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Downforce Legends with the SR8. And that's a 7:45 start. 2-minute races, two sprint races, a 15-minute and 25-minute, followed by Fuji International Speedway, 9 p.m. start, 60-minute race in the GT4s, really starting to stretch the legs on those GT4s with the longer races. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully it's a whole lot better for me than Willow Springs, but we'll leave it at that. Thursday night, the broadcast, both Wednesday and Thursday are, of course, brought to us by Daniels Correasar. And we thank him very much for that. So Thursday, Formula Vs will come from Willow Springs, and we'll see if we need to get a push out to get up the hill and over the top there, but it'll be a fast trip down. 7:45 start, 3 races, a 10-minute, a 15-minute, and a third 15-minute, and then Porsche Cup. That rounds out the week, brings us back to where we are right now, but we'll be here at Mount Panorama, 9 p.m. start, 60-minute race. That is our broadcast and non-broadcast schedule. With if you want to buy any of our merchandise, I believe Brent posted something about the Zach Bingo shirt being available on the merchandise store.
It was that he's finally turned up because there was a
is that what it was?
Yeah, our merch guys had a little bit of a glitch with two of our orders, and his was one of them. It finally came through.
So that's merch.tgsrci.com or race.tgsrci.com and go to the merchandise tab there. You can also do all your membership details there and pay your dues if you want to come and race with us. So thanks very much for showing us all of that. Daniel, shall we move on to sponsors perhaps? And of course, none of this could happen without the club president who does courtesy GSRC liveries. And if you haven't got one for your Super 2 or Super 3 car, you can run a club livery. I think you just go via Trading Paints and search John Simpson, I believe, and up it should pop. So flash graphics, thanks to John Simpson, and been a long-time supporter of the club and, of course, current club president. M-Wave, there is an affiliate link at our Facebook page and probably on our Discord as well, that if you know what you want and you just want to do an online order, or they've got people who have a good idea of what's going on in computers as well, including the current state of play for the NVIDIA cards, which Daniel is telling me is incredibly mucked up at the moment. But M-Wave, look for that affiliate link. You will get your product there, and some of your purchase price will go to the club and assist us in doing these sorts of things with our broadcasts. So thank you to M-Wave. Login Systems, they bring us our Enduro series every month, and we haven't had a look at that yet, but I think there's probably one coming up fairly shortly. But Login Systems, big thanks to them, been on board for a couple of seasons now. Orbic, which computer and mobile applications, or not applications, but products, and Orbic is a new company to Australia. It has its roots in America, and Pete Matson is working with them and bringing their support to the GT4s on a Thursday night. Thanks, Pete. Waste Options, been now a fairly long time supporter of our GT3 series. It's at least probably 3 seasons now, so big thanks to Waste Options who bring us the broadcast on a Monday night, certainly of the GT3s, and this week it will be the AM Split. Lobsy Racing, that is Trent Lavis, or Labes, or is it Lobsy Racing? Never quite sure, but Lobsy Racing brings us from Trent Lavis. Brings us the up-and-comers on Tuesday night. He's been a long-time supporter of that series with race control and giving some racing tips to drivers as well. So big thanks to Trent Lavis for bringing Lobsy Racing as a sponsor to the club.
Yeah, so Lavis is right for the name, and like he would say Lobsy, but I say Lebeezy.
Yes, and it's pronounced several other ways as well. Over the course of the week.
It derives from, like, he reckons that he used to be called a lobeless because he hasn't got earlobes. So that's where it derived from.
He's like Blofeld. Blofeld doesn't have earlobes, I think. Player One Sim Gear, anyway, we digress. If you want some absolutely specialised tips and information, you go and see Neil Waters at Player One Sim Gear. He's got just about anything to do with sim gear, and that's flight controllers or flight simulators, as well as car racing. And they have a pretty good YouTube channel with a lot of reviews of kit. So if you need a bit of advice on what you're going to spend the ample hard-earned pennies that you've squirreled away, Neil Waters at Player One Sim Gear is a fantastic resource, and they're back as a sponsor, bringing us the Super 2s and Super 3s every Monday night. So welcome back to Player One Sim Gear. And that's about it, apart from our brand new pure Tasmanian Sprayton non-alcoholic cider. We thank them for coming on board. Adam, can you tell us a little bit about our contacts there? It's Matt someone or other.
Matt Distill.
Matt Distill bringing us the non-distilled, non-alcoholic cider. So thank you, big thanks to Matt for coming on board and bringing us Wednesday nights now as a little lonely for the Vs and the Porsches. Thursdays, yes, the other Wednesday, the day after Wednesday. We thank them for popping in. I'm just gibbering on, it's late and it's time for bed, I'm sure. But big thanks to Sprayton's non-alcoholic cider, and they do have grown-up beverages, and I'm sure if you go to the Sprayton website, you'll be able to have a look at all their wares and perhaps purchase and help the people that are helping the club. So big welcome on board for Sprayton cider, non-alcoholic. That's about it. Have you got the Enduro calendar there? Because I think that's coming up very... Don't worry. Okay, well, it's coming up on Sunday, November 5th, and it's going to be Nürburgring. That would no doubt be the GP layout, I should think. And that is the GT3s of all the GT3s, and of course the other thing on top, the LMH, the Cadillac and BMW in there. So that's going to be a 6-hour race this time, practice for 100 minutes, quali of 20 minutes. So that's Team Enduro, and that will be around 3 of the login systems GSRC Endurance Championship, version 2 for the year. And I think now we're just about done. Anyone got anything?
No.
Good. I thank very much Daniel Correa Saar, who, while we're here, Daniel, where's the name come from? Is that a, can you tell me a little bit of the heritage of your name?
It's Portuguese. My parents are Portuguese, and
brilliant.
It works the same way as most European families. So when you take both your father and mother's last name.
Okay.
Yeah. As appendage. So
right.
Father's last name Saar, mother's last name Correa.
Brilliant. I was wondering about that. So big thanks to Daniel, who's been such a wonderful addition to the club, picking up Wednesday and Thursday night broadcasts and bringing the M-Wave sponsorship on board, or certainly the affiliate link to help the club out. So great to have him on board. Does a wonderful job of it. Adam Tyster joining me at very short notice. I hope it didn't inconvenience your Thursday night, and you won't be in the doghouse this evening.
No, it's all good. It's I'm normally chockers on a Thursday night. I normally have something else on, but able to adjust tonight just to help out. So yeah, no. Thanks for having me, and thanks for making me look good, Grant. It's always a pleasure to be in the booth beside you, and thank you to Daniel for his assistance in the V race. Yeah, that was very much appreciated.
As it turns out, I probably would have been better commentating the Vs tonight, but we'll leave that as said. Hopefully Zach will be back with us on next Thursday. Daniel, have you got...
Don't sell yourself too short. I remember near the end of the first race, looking at my mirrors, and I was like, oh, there's Grant making moves behind me, look out.
Yeah, that was a lap down.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, no, I took in the first or second lap. I took Tony Baker out around the initial the initial hairpin and redressed. So we're at the very back of the field. So anyway, yeah. So Adam Lavis, of course, everything you do around the club, we thank you very much. Who have you got commentating on Monday night? Is that Mr.
Zach.
Zach will be here. Oh, he's commentating from Perth, is he?
No. So his plane's back. His plane comes back Monday, and he's gonna go, and then he goes somewhere else after that.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, he's probably going to the Cause concert. I just saw the Cause were playing over in Perth, and he has almost the same soft spot for the lead singer of the Cause as he does for Delta Goodrem, but we'll leave that for another day. So, okay, Zach's back, and then we'll see what happens on Thursday. So, big thanks to everyone around the club, all the people doing the race control and the stewards and Adam's work as well. Really thank them for everything they go through to bring us this fantastic racing week in, week out. We're done for tonight. I thank you all for popping in and viewing whatever part of the event you did, and we look forward to having your company again on Monday evening for the Super 2s at Circuit Park Zandvoort and the GT3s from Interlagos. So thank you and good evening. We wish you well. We shall see you again.